Bigger, better, bolder. The cold, hard truth is taking talk to the next level. Right here on Bobo 89.1 FM, Cayman's Community Radio. We are still spilling the tea and committed to being part of the change that Cayman so desperately needs. Join Sandy Hill weekdays from 7:30 a.m. for Premier Access, Cayman Voices, Truthful Thursdays, and much more. Cayman's #1 talk show is now bigger, better, bolder, and more than talk. Getting results with hot topics, consumer reports, court exposés, and more.
I've come to set the record straight. I've come to shine the light on you. Let me introduce myself. I am the cold, hard truth.
Now, from the CMR studio in Grand Cayman, live, direct, it's the cold, hard truth. Now, join the conversation on 345-936-2626.
That number again is
345-936-2626.
Good morning, Cayman. Happy Friday. Beautiful day in paradise. I was just looking out the window. Looks amazing. All right, let's do a couple technical things here, including getting our live stream going, links going. America is still a mess. The world is still a mess. Nothing has changed there. Oh my goodness. What a mess. All right, we'll catch up on a little bit of news. All right. Okay, let me see here now. Thank you guys so much. Somebody sent me, what, a drink called Happy Being Live Well. Reduces inflammation, supports digestion, boosts natural energy, non-carbonated. Well, there is a good theory that you should live by when it comes to supplements and things like that. And the #1 theory is you got to try to get this stuff from foods. Oh Lord, see what they're saying here about French fries now. Lord Jesus. Ooh. No bueno. Ay. You got to watch the waistline, and that means you got to watch the diet. So thank you so much for sharing that. But this is where it's really, really important for you to ensure that you are getting your nutrients from, as much as you can, your foods. Sometimes, for whatever reason, you might be deficient in something and you need a little bit of help, but work diligently in eating a nutrient-rich diet, and you'd be surprised. And that the richness of certain foods, it depends on how you prepare it. So a lot of people don't think about this, but there's some some foods that you impact the nutrition, nutrient richness, if you will, of the food, depending on how it's prepared. So some are more nutrient rich when they're raw, in raw form, not all. And some are more nutrient rich when they are cooked. I was just watching some stuff on this yesterday, in fact. Onions, uncooked. They're nutrient rich raw. Now, I'm not a fan of onions at all, I must tell you. Yuck. You can keep your onions, but I do use them to add flavoring to food. So, sometimes you got to cook with an onion. You won't catch me eating raw onions. That much I can tell you. I'm not a fan of them at all. So eating them raw would be a real challenge for me. Not today, Bobo. Broccoli. I'm trying to remember now. Broccoli, I think, is more nutrient rich when it's cooked, if my memory serves me correctly. Yep. And what else? Tomatoes, I believe raw for sure, I think. Yeah, there's a whole list. I'm going to try to find the video because just last night, it's so funny I see this message, because just last night I was watching something about this. So you've got to, the more you know, but I think it's important to know that trying to have foods in liquid form or trying to get your nutrients in liquid form is normally not a good way to get it. So most instances, you definitely want to get it from your foods. And in fact, depending on the actual on the liquid, it can actually be very counterintuitive in terms of the benefits that you get from it. So listen, I love a smoothie. I'm a smoothie queen. I love a smoothie, but I have had to cut back because the truth of the matter is smoothies are actually very, very bad for you when it comes to your blood sugar level, because the sweetness of the things that you're putting in the smoothie, there is no digestion involved. It goes straight into your blood. So those of you who've had certain procedures, I know some of you had gastric and all this other stuff, you especially need to be careful consuming foods in liquid form because you've had a large portion of your stomach either removed or made unavailable through a sleeve. So drinking, and you should know this, you metabolize alcohol very differently because of that procedure. But it's not just alcohol, because alcohol obviously has sugars in it. It's any beverage, really. So just be careful. That's all I'm saying. So if I want antioxidants and I want, whatever other vitamins, the best thing to do is to find foods that are high in whatever nutrients you're looking for. Now, sometimes we take supplements, and there's been quite a bit of research done around supplements now. And for the most part, supplements don't really work. And not only do they not work, folks, but do you know, that a lot of people, you live shorter. You live a shorter life if you're taking supplements. And when I saw that study, I was like, huh? What would explain that? And I don't know that I have an explanation yet. I didn't read that report in full, I'll admit. But I thought to myself, it's possible that people who take supplements feel like maybe they have a false sense of protection from the supplements. So the rest of their diet and well-being is not really that great. But the evidence is pretty clear that they do not live longer. In fact, their life appears to be shortened. So outside of any other explanation, we have to look at lifestyle to see why that could possibly be. But I thought, now there's an interesting bit of information. Supplement takers living a shorter life. But definitely, again, try to get it from your foods, honey child, and not pop a pill. Oh, the health struggle is real. The health struggle is real. And when you get to a certain age, it gets even realer. I was just having a brief conversation with my friend this morning as I was doing my morning routine. I said, child, we don't have youth on our side anymore. You have certain protection from youth. You get the protection of age and all this kind of stuff. When you get to a certain age, that's out the window. So you better start to shape up a little bit, do your walks and so on. So happy Friday. We got some good stuff coming up for you. We got an MP joining us this morning. Doot, doot, woot, woot. And I'm trying to find my scissors this morning. Where are my little scissors? Ay. I got to keep some little scissors right next to me. I got these little miniature scissors that I travel with. I need to keep a pair of those in my drawer here because they're always handy. Give me 1 second now. Hold on, honey chill. Hold on. Let me just find a little something. There's a video actually that I want you guys to watch because let me send out my link. Sorry. I was sitting on the links. Let me send this. And then there is something that I want you guys to actually watch. Maybe I'll just do a quick commercial break because I'm going to weave this bit into the conversation at some point or another. So let's do a quick little commercial break. And then we can talk about some world events until Miss Julie is ready. I think she's going to be coming on around 10 o'clock or so. So let me just see. Yes, commercial breaks it is. Okay. Reminding you that dash cam inventory is here. Oh my gosh. I got to tell you a story about the dash cams. Remind me when I come back. Hold on. You're not going to believe what somebody shared with me yesterday. I was like, oh my gosh. Yep. Hold on, honey chill.
Let's face it, driving in Cayman is getting riskier by the day. That's why our last shipment of high-quality dash cams sold out in just 1 week. But guess what? They're back in stock, and trust us, you don't want to miss out this time. Whether you're on the road or parked at Foster's, this powerful dash cam has your back with crystal clear recording, parking mode surveillance, and even motion detection to catch vandals in the act. Got a company fleet? This is a must-have investment to protect your drivers, your brand, and your bottom line. Accidents, insurance claims, road rage, vandalism. Don't wait until it's too late. Message us now or WhatsApp 3459249999 to grab yours before this batch is gone too. Dash cams, because the truth is always worth recording.
All right, honey chill. So someone was sharing with me yesterday that they have one of the dash cams. I can't remember I guess she bought it. I don't think she won it. Did she win it or did she buy it? I can't remember. But anyway, she was saying to me, Sandy, I got one of the dash cams from you some months back and I haven't installed it yet. Well, that's kind of, you might as well not have it, to be honest. And then somebody hit her a couple days ago, young female driver. And of course, you know what happens? They come out and they look at the accident. They start to blame you for it. And she's like, oh, no. You were at fault for this accident. So when the police came, luckily, the police were able to pull camera footage from the area because there's a camera right above where they were. So thankfully for that, because sometimes you really run into and you take a risk when someone claims that you did this and they did that and And it might not always be as obvious as to who's at fault. So I'm like, girl, you better go install that camera. It didn't help that the young lady was stinking of marijuana because she was just smoking a joint. We can find more and more of this happening too in our community as more and more young people, now that, the law hasn't been passed yet, but the government has a mandate to decriminalize marijuana. Some of y'all think that that means that it's going to be legal. And I think they have to navigate this very, very carefully. The police have already expressed that they have some concerns about how decriminalization is going to take effect and how it's going to work. Because you can be addicted to marijuana, as with anything. And there's some people who are frequent smokers. And it's not really productive for you to be a frequent smoker of anything. Just yesterday, I had I need to catch up on messages, by the way. If you've been messaging me on the social media channels or messaging CMR, I'm a little bit behind. I ain't gonna lie to you. That's not something I've been used to doing because we've had somebody else who's been doing that. And so I need to get back in the swing of things, but I'm actually exploring a new tool. I have to prioritize this, where all of the messages come to like one central location, including calls and everything. So I think I need to just bite the bullet and try that and see, because that would make my life a lot easier instead of having to go here, there, and everywhere to look at messages. But if you've been messaging me on Instagram and Facebook through the page, I will be honest with you, there's definitely been a delayed response. I'm not on social media as much as people think, because then I wouldn't get anything else done. So, yeah, honey child. But I need to get caught up. So I know some of you are messaging me some stuff, and I do need to get caught up. We have a young lady who lost her passport. She's trying to travel soon to Jamaica. Poor thing. I need to post that for her today to see if someone has found her passport. So still reach out. We're trying to still do all the lost and found stuff, of course. But yeah, it's a little bit more challenging because I am just on the go, getting stuff done, honey chill. So let me see here now. So yes, someone sent me a link. This is why I started thinking about messages. Someone sent me a message about Armie Hammer, and he must have recently done an interview. He had disappeared from the interview scene for a minute because he needs to try and get his life together. I don't still think it's together. And then some people get so caught up in their so-called image and reputation, celebrity image and whatever. They really just need to disappear in the woods at a resort or something and just focus on themselves, their mental health, getting themselves properly together. But apparently he must have had some interview recently that he did. And he was talking about how he was an avid marijuana user. Well, I'm not surprised by that. And evidently, he says he was addicted. Let me see, most recent interview. Let me see who he actually did it with. But he was smoking like 20 joints a day. Okay. This man, his life is a hot mess. Armie Hammer, honey chill. He's one of them celebrities that, Lord Jesus, his life is like, I don't even know. It's just a hot mess. Here's another one from March talking about he details hook up with a man. I'm not surprised. Nothing surprises me with these people. So he, is trying to make a comeback in Hollywood, I guess. And so evidently, more recently, he was talking about his marijuana usage and saying that he definitely now recognizes that he had a problem. Yeah, not for nothing. He said he loved marijuana roofing people. So he would actually give it to people unbeknownst to them what was in it. I wonder if he did that to the girl who was running for Miss Cayman that he was talking about, how he got to slap a Miss Cayman in the bonky. But he said he loved, this is a quote from him, loved marijuana roofing people at the height of his acting career. Well, I'm sure that's illegal. He said that apparently they were left so stoned that they could not find their feet. So he joked about this in his latest episode of his podcast. Everybody wants to have a podcast these days. He has the, what's it called? The Army Hammer Time podcast. I would not listen. And he said, I love poisoning people. There's something about Army Hammer. Narcissism. I mean, I'm no psychologist, so I'm not going to put a label on him, but I'm going to put a label on him. I think he's got problems, like really, really deep-seated problems. And anyone who's probably been with him is now, well, how does that guy say it? Emotional damage. Yeah, honey child, you got emotional damage after Army Hammer. He's a hot mess. Ooh, honey child. Come into that. Let me double check something. Let me double check one of my sources here in relation to that. I got to revert to my senior for that question. Yeah, somebody say, hello, we don't want to talk about all that. We want to talk about Pastor Clark continuation. We are, but there's a logic to my madness. I don't want to start the Pastor Clark conversation and then have to stop when Miss Julie comes on. So I'm just talking about some topical things. Let Miss Julie come on. And then we're going to deep dive into today's topic, the real topic, which is sheep's in wolves' clothing. I'm just saying. So, yes, honey chill. So he talks about drugging people and somehow getting some pleasure out of that. You see, to me, not for nothing, but that's the kind of foolishness that serial killers do. I mean, hello. So he said, I love smoking marijuana with people to the point where they were like, I'm so stoned, I can't find my feet. I loved marijuana roofing people. That's where it becomes a crime. I think at that point in my life, I was smoking upwards of like 15 to 20 joints a day. He was then reminded that he got his Lone Ranger co-star Johnny Depp super stoned before promotional appearance in the 2013 movie, promoting them to be banned from hanging out during the press tour. So I guess whoever for that movie said to two, you can't hang out. So and we know Johnny Depp has had his drug issues over the years. So he got him so drugged up that the managers of the event said, no. Did I get the saying wrong? Somebody said, don't you mean wolves in sheep's clothing? What did I say? Did I say sheep in wolves' clothing? I oftentimes reverse that. Hold on. Let me see something here now. Yes, it is wolves in sheep's clothing. Did I just say sheeps and wolf? Well, hopefully the sheep not pretending. Oh, Lord, I think I got it reversed. My apologies. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Brownies for you. Brownies coming right up. Yes, wolves in sheep clothing. Let me make sure we try and fix that now, Yeah, my brain tends to flip these things sometimes. I don't know if that's an issue or whatever. But anyway, he has a podcast now, apparently. And his co-host, Ashton Ramsey, said, and were you actually in trouble? The most trouble that you've ever gotten into was when you basically got Johnny Depp super stoned before a press junket. I doubt that's the most trouble. He said, yeah, they never let me hang out with Johnny on the press tour after that. They would always keep us apart. Well, when you got two personalities, they're a little bit addictive. That would make sense. He went on to say they never let us do press. They were like, you cannot hang out anymore. So Army, who was accompanied by his ex-assistant Ashton and the Lone Ranger Global Press Tour, recalled that Disney gave him his own private jet, but his 62-year-old co-star had a bigger and better plane. This is the things that they worry about in life. They got him the craziest jet I've ever seen. It had a movie theater in it. The guy who owned the jet was a serious smoker, and Johnny smoked cigarettes constantly. He lights one off at the as he finishes the other one. King of kind of thing, he said. And they needed to get a plane for Johnny that he was allowed to smoke in. Wow, Johnny smokes that much? You can't even get on a plane and not smoke? Lord Jesus. So anyway, I need to check in with Elizabeth Chambers. Oh, let me see if her phone number still works that I have for her. I'm going to just say hello. She moved back to the States. Immigration was giving her warm time with her work permit and her status here. The kids were in school. And so, I ain't really taking up for too many people when it comes to work permit issues, because the law is the law and it's meant to be followed. So it talked about his career went into free fall after he was accused of physical and sexual abuse, including alleged cannibalistic fantasies. He subsequently checked into rehab for help with his drug, alcohol, and sex addiction issues. Lots of addiction. Anyhow, good luck to your friend. But yeah, you roofie the wrong person, you're going to find yourself in trouble. So that makes me wonder who else he might have been roofing. I often think of the like I said, Miss K-Man wannabe, that he was on social media bragging about how he's slapping her in the behind kind of thing. Anywho, waiting on my guess. Ooh, wait a minute. I put that in the wrong folder. Oh, really? Well, let me check into this. Morning, TD. So, hold on now. Why is my computer buzzing at me? Oh, it's kind of moving slow this morning. Let me see. So someone just said, in relation to my comment about Cayman Airways, they said, hey, good morning. Cayman Airways does have a no relationship policy. However, most of them are having affairs, including CEOs, chief pilots, in-flight manager, and come down. Well, if they have such a policy, that means that they're not enforcing it, which you might as well not have it. But let me double check, because I really thought they had no policy. Why these guys were so brazen with it. So let me just confirm from someone at Cayman Airways management. Do you all have a non-fraternizing policy in place? Because they need it. They need to definitely enforce that. This person says, sorry, a day behind, but glad to see you talking about it. In the past, pilots would leave messages for female cabin crew members, telling them to come into their rooms and layovers. The pilots, I feel like, are the worst. Not for nothing, but Cayman Airways, yes, we've got some of the best pilots in terms of maybe their flight capability. We've never had any major incidents that we need to worry about. But when it comes to their moral compass and their ability to not cheat on wives and keep it in their pants and all that kind of stuff, whew, they are the worst. So I'm shocked to hear that they have such a policy, because that means that, Lord Jesus, it obviously isn't being enforced by anybody. HR, where are you? Where's HR for Cayman Airways? Please try and enforce this policy, because it's one of those things that it's detrimental to the female staff. Now, listen to me. I must say that, hold on one second, that I really cannot support this sort of thing. Listen, everybody is ultimately an adult, and I'm not here to tell grown people how to live their lives. But I do think that there's a power dynamic that happens at organizations. And when you have pilots who are obviously in a much more powerful position than, oh, my other light isn't on. I knew I looked a little bit dark in the studio today. There we go. When you have pilots who are, that's a power position over a stewardess or in-flight crew, they should not be fraternizing with stewardess. To me, that would be immediate termination. So I'm curious what policy they have and what the repercussions are, because clearly don't seem to be any. What a hot mess. Okay. Let me just see some of your comments. Good morning, Johan. Island Pearl is in the house. Buenos dias, buenos dias. So someone says, Robert says it's FOFO Friday. You know, apparently how they pronounce it, there's a parenting thing now where it's called like FAFO parenting style. Listen, that's like from when we were kids. I played the video the other day where it's like all of our parents were FOFO parents. But I do think there's a hybrid model. Listen to me now. That might actually work. My apologies, a little cough there. There's a hybrid model to, I believe in balancing things a little bit, especially when it comes to children. So in my mind, after somebody sent me this article about this new parenting, FOFO parenting, it was kind of like, yeah, I get it. It's a kind of parenting style where your children have got to know that there are consequences to their behavior. And of course there are consequences. What do you mean? I'm all for gentle parenting, but gentle parenting does not mean that there are no consequences. Yeah, you do this, and this is the likely outcome. That's going to happen. And that includes your parents being like, you're in trouble today, Bobo. You know, and now it doesn't have to be that you're going to beat them to death, but there will be consequences. All right. But apparently when I was reading the article, they were saying it's pronounced, correct me if I'm wrong now, but it's pronounced faffle. That's what FOFO, like if you're trying to say it, it's faffle. Is that right, young folks? Y'all tell me because y'all know better. Young people of the Cayman Islands, I have a very, very important announcement for you all. Get ready to have your own talk show. Dun, 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 dun. We're going to be doing a casting call here shortly. I can't. Every time I open a social media page, the stories about Trump, listen to this one. Co-founder of the MAGA Burger Restaurant. Somebody actually did a MAGA Burger Restaurant. There you go. A Texas fast food chain idolizing President Trump and his hardline immigration policies is now facing deportation himself. You cannot make this stuff up. Roland, what his name is, Biani, a Lebanese immigrant with MAGA branded burger empire, with a MAGA branded burger. Yeah. Has been accused of immigration fraud and notified by federal officials that his green card is being revoked. He's under investigation over what has been described as a sham marriage designed to exploit U.S. immigration laws. Dun, dun, dun. Woo! I love it. I absolutely love it. Good. Take them all down. Oh, some of them like, oh, I didn't think this was going to apply to me. Oh, I didn't know he was going to strip the protection for Venezuelans. So I supported him because, I was against every other immigrant. Faffle. This is the ultimate. This is like 4 years full of faffle. Lord Jesus. You can't make this stuff up. Wow. The dude created a MAGA burger. You got time, honey chow. Well, now you can eat that MAGA burger all the way back to Lebanon. Ay, caramba. Que planchera. It just makes me laugh because I'm just like, these people think that these things don't apply to them. Oh my goodness. No, sir. Ay. All right. Let me see what else we got here. And our guest is pretty much ready. I'll post that one because that is hilarious. That's hilarious. You really can't make it up. So I'm just like, hey, MAGA burger man. What you say? You married, fraudulent marriage? Lord Jesus, poor you. Yes, sir. This is where it's at. Hot mess. All right, let's pause it. Let's pause it there so we can bring our guest in. Good morning, Mr. Richard, joining us from Round Rock, Texas. Damaris is in the house. Beautiful Miss Romelia. Miss Romelia, we need to get an update on the investigation with your vehicle. We want to know what's going on. Anthony Douglas, good morning, sir. Miss Olivia's here. Always loving your program, says Anthony. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Luana, hello. How are you? Good morning to you, darling. Jasara is here. Abby's in the house. Ay. Good morning to Miss Barbara, Bertha. We got like 500 people here this morning. Y'all here for the faffle with Pastor. I don't know if after today's show, we may not be able to call him Pastor anymore. We better call him something else, just Mr. Clark, because that pastor title is coming down. Melita says, so San, you're telling us in advance to keep our phones on charge today. Then, because girl, you drained mine the other day. I know, it was what, 4.5 hours? How long was the show the other day? Oh, it was something else. Y'all had things going hot. Let me see here now. 5 hours and 48 minutes. Almost a 6-hour show. Whew. Lord Jesus, that's it would be something if I could say it was a record, but actually it's not. So it's it's a something. It's a good show is what it was. Some real truth telling. All right. Let's pause the breaks and we're going to bring in the beautiful, you ready for me, Miss Julie Hunter? The beautiful Miss Julie Hunter. She is this is the first time Miss Julie's coming back since the election. Let's bring her in because I can't even remember now. Hello, Miss Julie.
Hello, good morning, Sandra. Good morning, and good morning, K-Man.
Good morning. How are you?
Oh, I'm great. Thank you. It's a beautiful Friday morning in the Cayman Islands. What can I say?
Oh, yes, it is indeed. Is this your first time on since the election? I'm trying to remember.
Yes, I think it is. Yes, it is. Since the election.
My goodness. Well, welcome back. I know we did a brief interview with you, I think, the night of.
Yes.
I believe, or maybe the next morning. But yes, okay. Good. Well, welcome back. So, of course, allow me to congratulate you on what was an amazing... Girl, you know I don't drink, but you caused me to drink that night.
You're joking. Oh, my goodness.
Because a promise is a promise. And I gave my word that if we unseated McKeeva Bush, it was going to be a glorious day and that I would take a shot. So, of course, Ms. Elizabeth was here holding me accountable. She's she said, I got your shot ready for you.
Yes, so you had to live up to your promise.
That's right. I had to keep my word. But
that was quite a day, Sandra. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, going back and forth, but we did it. We pulled it off. Thanks to the beautiful people of West Bay West.
Yes, it's amazing. And she gave me a shot and I had to pour like half of it out because I'm like, girl, this is not a shot that you've given me. You're trying to give me the whole bottle. She laughed. So I just
That was
had a
too
little
strong.
I just had a little sip. But yes, Shane Rankin joining us from London. Good morning, sir. How are you? But congratulations. And I know that you've hit the ground running. So
Yes.
100 days in now, we want to talk about what you've been up to. So, wow, Miss Julie, you've been busy.
It's been a busy but productive 100 days, Sandra. I am so happy to report that. I mean, being busy is one thing, but when you're busy and getting things done and you can see progress, it's an amazing feeling. And that's the feeling that we have gotten the whole 100 days because we really have seen some serious progress in this 100 days. And I am so thankful for what have been able to achieve. So, I've not been on this show, but I've been busy on the ground, been visiting, and my people have seen me. So, and then we try to post every so often. So, if they've been keeping up with me on social media, then they pretty much know what I've been up to.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people don't keep up on social media, so we're going to tell them exactly what you have been up to. So let's talk a little bit about the launch of the Unemployment Jobs Portal Registry dedicated to, is that just for the West Bay West constituency?
No, it's not.
Okay.
It's an endeavor of ours from West Bay West, but anyone that we can help, that is our absolute pleasure. To be able to help anyone. And I'm really, really proud of this initiative because this is one of the things, as you know, that we campaign so heavily on is, getting our people back to work, getting our Caymanians to be, proud and sustainable again so that they can sustain themselves, and be able to do that in a real way. And so, as a part of our campaign, we did a lot of things in CINP before the election, all leading up. And this was one of the things that we had discussed in CINP. So I really got that idea from our team there. And then Dawn, which was one of my team members, helped me to put it together along with our online and tech support from my office. So yeah, it's up and running, Sandra. It's what it is. It's an online tool where unemployed Caymanians can basically submit their details and their CVs for job matching support. So we're supporting them because our office is working closely in partnership with Work Cayman, and as well as we're ensuring that the private sector that we're getting, a handle on what jobs are out there in the private sector and matching then those people that sign up on the portal with those jobs that are available. In fact,
how is that any different? Let me just clarify what this is. I think it's important, obviously, for people to understand how this tool differs then from what WORC has in place, because WORC has a job portal. So this is a separate portal than that?
Yeah, this is a different portal. This is basic us getting details of those that are unemployed, when they can start, what kind of job they're looking for, and then us helping to support them by, basically going out and seeing what jobs are available on the market and helping them to, I think it's a greater support in a way because we're just going out to different businesses on people's behalf. I find myself dropping off resumes to different businesses. I find myself going and talking to managers, seeing what they have coming on stream. We're partnering with the new Grand Hyatt hotel that's supposed to be opening in, I think February is the new date. So, they're going to be having a lot of positions coming online. And, one of the things that we want to do, of course, is to upgrade our tourism product. And one of the ways that we can do that is to get our Caymanians back to be the face of our tourism product. I mean, we want it to be that wherever you are in the Cayman Islands, you are seeing our people. That's one of our big aims for this administration. So, with the Hyatt opening, they've said to us, and they've given us a list of the jobs that they're going to be having available. And so we're trying to partner our people that have an interest in the tourism sector, of course, with those
So
jobs.
how are you also encouraging them to sign up for the WRC portal? Because
Yes,
some people might be listening to this saying,
WORC is helping us as well. They're going to be giving
okay,
us the job listing registry weekly
uh-huh,
and helping us with, we have a dedicated officer from work that's working closely with us. So we feel that with our office and the officer from work and us going out as well and sourcing the different jobs that are available from the private sector, we feel that we'll be able to have a greater measure of success. So that's what we're hoping, we're praying, Sandra, and we can only work and do our best.
All right. Just want to make sure you're not reinventing the wheel, because God knows, probably signing up. I haven't had the pleasure of looking at the WRC portal, but I'm sure that's enough work already as it is. But all right, so that's a good initiative. So a jobs portal. You also have, let me just see here now. Let me just see here. Oh, yes. So I was just wondering if that was a comment for you. That was something else. All right. So let's talk about John A. Cumber for a second here now. So the primary school received some accolades recently for improving their results and, improving the ranking of the school. So you were involved in that in terms of rewarding the school and rewarding the children. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, actually, I've been able to spend quite a bit of time at Johnny Cumber Primary School over the last few months. I mean, I used to be able to go before and help them with the library and do, a lot of initiatives there with the library. But recently, I've really gone back to the school and been able to be heavily involved with Miss Frater there at the library, who's an excellent librarian. And she's also in charge of the Good News Club for the children. So I help do a lot with the storytelling and, like that. But one of the things I'm really proud about is, that education is our cornerstone of our mission. One of the cornerstones of our election campaign, and it's a mission for us as a administration, is to get education back and running on a different, complete level. So we have to upgrade our standards. And when we found out that, of course, Johnny Cumber had moved their rating up to good school this year, it was just a phenomenal time for us as West Bay MPs to go down there and support them, be there at the ceremony and that they had. And then as a result of that, Miss Giovanna, the principal, had a big fun day for the school, and so we were able to then donate the ice cream truck for the day, so that all of the students and staff were able to be treated to ice cream that day. We did laser tag. We had the fire truck come by. We had the snow cone machine. We had so many things that day at the school. It was just an amazing day of celebration all day long for staff and students, because that was such a big thing for us.
Wonderful. So I'm sure the children enjoyed that immensely, because, of course, we tell them to work hard, but there's also correlation in terms of you work hard, you're rewarded in some way. So even at a young age, it's important to let them see how they can be rewarded for their hard work. Yeah. All right. Let's talk a little bit then about hurricane season. Now, hurricane season is here and the tropics are starting to pick up, because as most people know, September is the busiest season when it comes to hurricane season. So, we're keeping an eye. We haven't had any major storms yet. I know that there's been a new report where they've actually downgraded. So this is a blessing, but they've downgraded the expected number of major storms for the year. And I have to be curious now about what you've been doing in your community when it comes to hurricane preparedness.
Well, Sandra, being prepared is one of the keys to keeping calm during hurricane season, and being prepared helps us overall. That was one of the things that we were taught by our trauma coach. One of the things that we have done so far is we had a very good hurricane preparedness forum at one of the church halls. It was very well attended. We had 46 people there, and our partners from Hazard Management came came and did an excellent presentation that was really, really enjoyed. And then we had Hope's Dwelling coach, Miss Rhonda Cornwell, come as well. And she taught us about keeping calm and being prepared, of course, helps you to be calm during a storm. So I just felt like that we needed to start off with that. So that was well attended. And, we got a lot of preparation tips. I was able to give hurricane preparedness bags for the first 25 people that arrived. And as well as the other thing that we've done is being prepared, like I said, is so important. So what we've done is we've gone out and we've done hurricane preparedness and elderly support with our elderly residents. So we've gone door to door, we've gone door to door to find out what their needs are in the event of a hurricane. So we're saying, who's your immediate contact? Do you have children that you can easily call? Are they going to be there to support you, or do you need our office number handy so that you can call us in the event of anything? Are you prepared with your hurricane supplies? What do you need? Are you going to need plywood? Are you going to need water? Are you going to need sandbags? And then we've taken a list from them and figured out exactly what they need. And then so we have that now on an Excel spreadsheet, have that all ready to go in the event of a hurricane. That's been one of the things that have been really, really enjoyable to us, as far as getting to talk to them, and the fact that they were so amazed that we were doing that and doing early preparation. We're not just waiting to say, there's a storm on the way, but we're prepared in the event of a storm so that we don't have to be hustling at the last minute and saying, who do we need to get to? Where is so-and-so, what are they doing, or what are we doing even, but we know now basically how much plywood we're going to need, how much of this, how much that. So we haven't completely finished it yet, but we've made a big dent in it, and we're well on our way to that hurricane preparedness. So that's one of the things that have kept us busy, but it's a good busy, like I'm saying, because, we're getting to talk to our people. They're seeing that we care. They're seeing that we're involved. They're seeing that we continue to look about their well-being. Safety and well-being is so important. So, it goes hand in hand. And like I say, if you're prepared, then, it goes a long way in keeping us calm during those times of storm and stress.
Very good. And we continue to really pray, pray, but prepare,
Exactly. Prayer works. And just like how you were saying that it's been downgraded, that's a result of prayer. Prayer is powerful, and prayer works.
So, yes.
So we know that September is the month that, in fact, in my lifetime, two of the major storms that I've had, Hurricane Gilbert and Hurricane Ivan, and they've both been in the month of September. So that's the month that we kind of really get scared, and so we're hoping that will pass, and that we won't have high storms this year.
All right, so we have an acknowledgement here that flooding is always an issue, and different. I feel like all of Cayman is very low-lying, but different areas of the island, if we have a good rain, get a good degree of flooding. So I know last week, Friday, that we got some rain, and different areas were flooding. I wasn't on island, but again, just a reminder that it doesn't take much for us to have an incident
of flooding. Yes, that is why we have put in some extra drains, Sandra, in some of our low-lying areas. And when we had the rain, I'm happy to report that in those areas, the residents are much happier and said that they could now get out. Some of them couldn't even get out before, but just a little bit of rain, with all the flooding. But now that has been solved, and I know that our NRA and public work teams have been on the road constantly, because they're aware that all the drains needed to be blown out, so that in preparation. So Minister J, made us know that that's one of the priorities now during this time of the year, is that all of the drains are blown out on a consistent basis. So our crews are definitely on the road, thanks to Public Works and to NRA, and of course Minister J, and taking the charge on that.
Fantastic. What about infrastructure improvements? What have been going on in your first 100 days there already?
Well, I am just so happy that yesterday was a major milestone for us in West Bay. Sandra, I don't know if our residents realized what happened yesterday, but we were able to open our first dialysis unit at the West Bay Health Center under the direction, the leadership of our Honorable Catherine Ebanks Wilkes. So that was a big, big day for us. Our residents now no longer need to travel to Georgetown to get dialysis. As I don't know how many of them know, but we do have now 67 people on the island that is in need of dialysis on a weekly basis. Some of them have to go as much as 3 times a week. So, and some of our residents now are in need of even ambulatory support to get to dialysis. So, that would make that much easier if they just have to transport them to the West Bay Clinic instead of all the way then to Georgetown. And then, we can just help to lighten the load by having we have 2 dialysis machines now in West Bay. So that's major for us. But apart from that as well, then I have been able to work on upgrades in the West Bay West area. We did a tour a few weeks back with Public Works to all of our public spaces and parks. So we were able to see firsthand the upgrades that are needed there. Some of the parks that have no lighting, we're still working basically on a few of them, but we were able to put in some lights. Actually, today at Velma Banks, we're having our assessment done for Velma Banks. So those lights should be going in next week, hopefully. Like I say, we've done drains, we've done speed bumps on Alexandria. We opened the new crosswalk on Scholars last week by Scholars Park, just a little bit down from Scholars. We wanted it right across from Scholars Park, but when the NRA team came, they said that was not ideal because of the 2 roads intersecting. They felt they would be more of a hazard than a help. So we put it right a little bit across from the car park then. So our new crosswalk is now installed by Scholars. So of course, when they're coming from the park, they can now go on the crosswalk to get back to the car park, which was a hazard all the time because the speeding on that road. So we're working on actually putting in speed bumps, 2 speed bumps coming from Bush Tree Hill and also coming down Stadium Drive, because the speeding on that road and people and children and adults coming from the park is just a accident waiting to happen. We've also gotten an expansion on Finch Drive. I don't know how many of the West Bayers realize that huge tree that was on Finch Drive has been removed, and you can now have 2-way traffic on Finch Drive without any issues. It's now widened, repaved, or its square is now a paved road. So we're making great progress on the infrastructure so far. We know that we already announced a while back that the Northwest Point dock is completed. We have vision for the dock closer to the turtle farm. It's basically a launch ramp, but we have some plans for that to make that a big, nice covered over pass or overlook, so you can overlook the ocean. In the evening and sunset. So we have plans for that. So we're doing our upgrades as promised. And Sandra, that's just the beginning. We have a lot more in vision for West Bay. Major upgrades are coming. So I won't spill all of those, but they're coming.
Very good. All right. Wow. You've been busy, honey child. Them first 100 days went by quickly. And I can tell you what, it sounds like you have really hit the ground running and been extremely busy. Let's talk a little bit about you're a permanent secretary.
Yes.
In government, right?
In government.
So explain to us what areas you are a PS for.
Well, currently I'm the PS for PLAHI, which is the Planning, Lands, Housing, and Infrastructure.
So that falls under Minister J.
Minister J. And then I have a little bit of Minister Ebanks's Ralston Anglin, portfolio, which is education. So I'm on the education and training. And then I also have a bit of Minister Rankin. I have culture and heritage. So quite a bit of not gotten as involved yet as I want to be, because of doing so many things on the ground, initially, but that's going to be ramping up. We've just about completed our specific and broad outcomes. So we have a lot of that done, so that we're now going to be able to assign what each of us are going to be working on. So that's very, very exciting. In the meantime, I was happy that I was able to act in July for Minister Nicholas DaCosta's ministry, Home Affairs and District Admin. Sorry, slipped me right then. Home Affairs and District Admin. So I was able to do that. That gave me a great insight actually into the running of government behind the scenes. So, you know, that was an exciting time for me, and I thoroughly enjoyed that.
Very good. All right. So, you know, a lot of people don't understand the important role that PSs play, but it's really a supportive role to the minister. And sometimes you're in an acting capacity. Have you had the opportunity to act as yet?
Yes, I acted for Home Affairs and District Admin for Nicholas in July.
All right. And tell us a little bit about the travel to Jamaica for the agricultural sector and what that trip was like.
Oh, okay. Yes, that was our trip to the Denby Agricultural Show. That's one of the biggest, that is the biggest agricultural show on the island of Jamaica. And as you know, we have very close ties with Jamaica. There are regional partners. They support us a lot, especially in the agricultural department, because, you know, they're so much more advanced than us, but they have been helping us to grow our agricultural department and help us with you know, livestock and sharing and so on and so forth. So, you know, every year we try to go as much as possible to Jamaica to see, you know, what's new, what's coming online, and how they can continue to help us. So that trip was, you know, basically a collaborative trip to help us further increase our knowledge. One of the things that I really enjoyed was looking at the hydroponic systems that they have over there. You imagine being able to grow 100 head of lettuce in 3 to 4 weeks, you know? Yeah, so I was really happy to be able to see some of the advances that they're making in that, and Minister Jay plans to bring a lot more of that on island for those that want to avail themselves of that. I know that we now, as a ministry, have just launched our backyard growing initiative, where we're giving, I think it's 100 farmers, I think we have 100 grow boxes that to give to those that want to start their own little small backyard farming. So that's a big initiative of ours that has now gone and launched. So that's another good thing. So yeah, continuing to expand in the area of agriculture and food security for the island is very, very important. And that's one of the initiatives that we're also working on. With our administration, we have to be much more sustainable than we were before. And, you know, it might be small steps, but, you know, we have to take steps, and we have to have goals and plans and keep working toward being sustainable.
All right, Miss or Al 2025. Hopefully that should answer your question. She is a permanent secretary? Yes.
Parliamentary secretary. Yeah, it used to be called permanent secretaries, I believe, back in the day.
My brain still refers to that parliamentary secretary. Al 2025. Yes, so she just answered that, but that is again oftentimes quite an important role to the minister, because that's like a direct line of support. So sometimes ministers cannot.
Sandra, one of the things that I was able to do as well during this time is do some. I know that ties in as well with our hurricane preparedness, but sometimes I just take a day off and I just go and say, you know, I'm gonna cover eight seniors today or 10 seniors today, and I go and visit. And you talk about a joy when I'm able to discuss, collaborate, talk to them, and let them know that, you know, I really care, and I'm going to be, you know, in touch with them often and make sure they have my number. You know, they call me if they need anything. Those visits have just been one of the highlights of my my time so far in office, as well as, you know, over the summer. It's a very challenging time for parents and families and children, because, of course, as you know, there are a lot of families in West Bay that need support. A lot of our parents are not employed. So, of course, the children, when they're in school, they get free meals. But when the summer comes, it's a challenge to make sure that those same children are taken care of. So I've been able to support some of them over the summer, and that's been a big help to parents as well.
Wow. Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for reminding us of that, because the meal program, a lot of people don't think about, but it is something that offers children at least one or two decent meals for the day.
Yes.
Yeah.
We, as you know, are
Yes, ma'am.
focusing on community health and wellness as well. So one of the initiatives that's being done very soon through private partnerships is our community wellness focus in West Bay. We're starting it in West Bay, and government has not started it, but the government is supporting it. It's a group of coaches from West Bay that have gotten together and put a wellness program together. So we are going to be supporting them. It's going to start with sports and health clinics. As you know, preventative care is so very important. That's why we have so many people on dialysis right now, but a lot of that could have been, if we do a preventative approach, a lot of those illnesses can be avoided, right? So getting this community wellness program up and running and supporting them as a government is key for us, but because, as you know, public-private partnerships is very important. The government can't do everything, but we can support, we can be there, and we can help to push the program forward, because it's going to benefit all of us. After we get it rolled out in West Bay, the other districts are going to of course, we're hoping will want to do the same thing as well. So we're going to be there to support that all through the islands, the 3 islands.
Wonderful. All right. Well, this has been a good little recap. Margie says we need more than 100 boxes, but that's a good start. And Aisle 2025 is inquiring about whether or not there have been any discussion around animal welfare. And it's so interesting, Aisle 2025, that you brought this up, because I do need to talk about this. I don't know, Miss Julie, if you know anything about animal welfare and kind of where the government is at, if they've had any discussions around this.
I don't know about that, Sandra. That's definitely going to be a takeaway for me. I can inquire on that and get back to you, so you can let the audience know.
Yes. All right, my darling. Well, thank you so much. I know that you had limited time this morning, but you did want to come and sort of give the people of the Cayman Islands and West Bay West in particular an update on, what has been going on with you and how things are going. And so once again, it looks like you've been keeping yourself busy, which is good, about the people's business, most importantly. And so a number of initiatives from the home clinics for elderly to assess their needs, to critical food supplies, rewarding our young people, comprehensive senior emergency preparedness assessment, and also very, very important, some assistance with employment in the district. We do have a caller on the line, so we'll take this caller before we let Miss Julie go. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Hi, good morning, Sandra Keyman, and good morning, Julie.
Good morning.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Like, you're so excited hearing of so much that has been accomplished in 100 days.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if it was accomplished over the past? But anyway, we're not going to go there. Good morning, Julie. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
What I want to bring to your attention is public beach, the area, the play area, where the kids, all of their little slides and swings and all of that area is. I would invite yourself, the minister, to go down there in the evening after the sun sets, when it gets dark. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I have a teen, my teen with a lot of the teens, go to public beach on Sundays in particular, the weekends, and hang out and stuff. And I've gone by there like around 7:30ish, 8 o'clock when the sun is set and it's dark. That particular area, absolutely no lighting whatsoever. No lighting, and it's completely pitch black. And the thing is that, you know, you want to have people out there, even late in the evening, you know, it's still enjoying the beach, especially with families, have the kids that's still out there with the slides and stuff like that, enjoying that area. But I've been meaning to contact Minister Jay on it, but I'm glad that you're on there to bring that to his attention right away. And my thing is, right now, you do not even need to erect poles and get electricity running and stuff. There is so much solar lights that are out there that you can run through. You can even go on Amazon, and you know, I'm an Amazon junkie, Sandra, hint.
Girl,
but
I feel you.
You can literally light your entire yard up with solar lights, like the twinkle lights and the spotlights. All you have to do is get them purchased, get them installed so they can get access to the sun. And that area can be lit up immediately. And we're talking about safety and security. So I want you to put that right there on your list to the top.
That is on my list, but it has been because we, like I said, we did the tour with Public Works, and that was one of the things that we pointed out, not only Public Beach, but if those of you that drive in West Bay, if you pass, when you pass College Park, there's not one single light. It's like she said, it's pitch black as well in the evening. So we have to put lights there. That's one of our first things, and Public Beach. So that's on our list. Thank you so much for noticing and bringing that to our attention. But we are working, we speak, we are working on these critical areas. You know, all of this helps to improve our life.
Absolutely. So thank you. And I look forward to another 100 days and going forward many 100 days with our current government. Really appreciate and love you guys. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend.
Thank you so much.
Yes. We're looking forward to a lot more coming on board. And then we're going to be coming on again in the next few months with some more advances. I'm not going to spill anything this morning, but we have some major things coming. And I know our audience is going to be happy when those are rolled out as well. Well, I mean, I know that they have seen a lot of things that have been rolled out so far, especially in immigration and education, and I'm not going to steal their thunder. But we're going to continue this momentum. Somebody said to me, I love the way this government has been aggressive in its approach. And we had to be aggressive because there were so many things pending that needed urgent attention in our island. And that was one of the things that we campaigned on, that we would not just be sitting there, but we would be actually working diligently every day for our people. And that's what we intend to continue to do with different things that we see is needed, and we will get the job done.
All right, one final caller. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, honey child.
Good morning, honey child. How you doing?
Oh, I'm blessed and highly favored beyond all measures.
Wonderful.
Miss Julie, how are you?
I'm doing well. It's good to hear you.
Miss Julie, as Minister J, Parliamentary Secretary, are you aware, or do you know, or are you able to say if there's any plans in for fixing Eastern Avenue? Eastern Avenue Road is in a mess, just as well as Borden Road is in a mess. And just the entrance and exit of Borden Road was fixed. The middle part of it is horrible. And this is something I've been complaining and begging for years to please fix Eastern Avenue stretch and Borden Road. I've gotten through with Watlers Road. A part of Washington Boulevard is done. But it's just like everything else has fallen on deaf ears. And what I'm being told, the MP is not requesting anything. But it's not. I mean, I don't care about the other MP because we all know that Joey ain't into getting anything done in his constituency. In 12 years, nothing has been done in his constituency. Here you have someone, a community advocate, who's been fighting and trying to get things done for our people in on Eastern Avenue, Borden Road, and Washington Boulevard, and nobody tried. Is even giving you any feedback or when it will be done or anything.
Well, I will definitely take that on, Ms. Romelia, and definitely talk to Minister J to see what the plans are for those three roads that you've mentioned. You said that was Borden Road, a portion of Eastern Avenue. Is it the whole Eastern Avenue that you're looking at?
well, from the stoplight by Blue Marlin, going up to up to the Uncle Bill's area, it's not good.
Yes,
That
I
road
know. Yeah,
is
that area, it really needs some help. I agree with you completely. That needs some help. So that was Borden Road, Eastern Avenue, and Washington, did you say?
down in Washington Boulevard. Yes.
Okay. That's some homework. I've made a note of those. Animal welfare, the lights on public beach, and those roads. I will definitely take that up.
I appreciate that. Not the second to the last election, Joey put in for plans for or restroom down in Washington Boulevard. Ironically, was passed 2 weeks before the election. Up to this day, the foundation have not digged, much less any form of enhancement has been going for the park. And I mean, it is so sad to see that at one point in time, this man was empowered to get these things done. He was empowered. He was over NRA to get the streets in his constituency done, to get whatever needs enhancing in his constituency done. And up to this, I mean, nothing. That wasn't on his portfolio. That wasn't on his mind. To do something, give back to the people who voted him in. That's not on his agenda.
Yeah. All right, my dear.
Looking forward.
Thank you so much.
That these things come to light, and if hopefully we can get some help.
We will. Our resources are going to be evenly distributed this time around with this administration. We've already made great strides in that, in deciding what's going to be done. We're going to continue to do that, and the resources are going to be evenly distributed. So we are going to look at the crucial areas of need and assess them and put them in priority. And that's how we're going to be managing our resources.
I appreciate that, and I like that word, evenly distributed.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Be blessed, my dear. Miss Julie, indulge me. One final one. Yes, caller. Hello.
Yes. Good morning.
Yes, ma'am.
And
yes, ma'am.
Also, Julie.
Hello.
My sister, we're there in Cayman Island.
Yes, ma'am.
You know who I'm talking, Julie? Look for her. She came down yesterday for the funeral. Check on her for me, please.
Is that Miss Lucille? Is that Miss Lucille?
Right here.
Yeah, I believe she made it on the flight. When we called, she was being wheeled down to the gate. So I believe she made it on, and she should be here this afternoon, hopefully praying to that end, Miss Lucille. Yeah, so you relax. I think she'll be fine.
Okay, listen now. I need someone during the hurricane season to go and sit on my roof because I don't want to go homeless. Please, want to look out for me. Pray, I'm praying.
All right, darling. Well, I don't know if they can sit on.
Wait on. Sandy, you're going to have to go there and sit on it. You have a lot of weight on.
Nope, I will not be doing any such thing. I'm not getting blown away.
I love you all. You all take care.
All right. Take care, Miss Lucille. Good to hear from you.
Thank you so much.
All right. I know that had to be somebody that knows me well, because the mere fact that she said Juju.
Yeah. Marjorie says, I'm so happy that West Bay made the right choice this time around. It's been years that nothing had happened in West Bay. Carrie Tibbet says, good morning. Lots for Grand. That's great, but nothing for the BRAC, including a permanent vet. We're sick and fed up of MPJ Ebank's empty lies and promises of a vet building. So what about us over here? Our rep Nicholas Acosta has gone MIA. Other than taking pictures, we're fed up. Well, what I would say, Carrie, not that they probably need me to defend them, but they have been working on the SPS, which is budget driven, money driven. You can't just jump up and say, oh, let's put up a building. Maybe that's what your previous leaders did, and that's why they have a $62 million deficit. Spending money and deciding what projects are priority and what the strategic priorities of the countries are requires people sitting down and actually making and having discussions collectively as a group of people on where they're going to go.
Amen, amen, and amen.
It's no single minister running the show and spending the people's money on pet projects
Exactly. This is a different administration in every sense of the word. I need to get that across today. A different administration. So we are strategically looking at what needs to be done, prioritizing, and that is how we are going to be spending money going forward. Not this haphazard. This
And
one
it
can come in and say how much you
requires
need,
planning.
and that's approved under the table and that's done. No. You have to sit down as a group. And I just want to say that we have been united in our approach. We are looking at everything that we need to do as a whole picture. And like Sandra said, our strategic focus is going to be with everybody at the table and has been with everybody at the table. And we're deciding exactly what needs to be done and prioritizing. And that's how we are making our decisions based on how much money we have to spend. And we're not going to be overspending. We're not going to be spending money that we don't have so we can sink ourselves. We have a big enough budget now to try to work our way out of. We're doing that. And
not a budget. Y'all, let's be clear. What you have is called a deficit. $62 million ain't nothing to sneeze at. And Jay can promise all he wants.
Deficit. We're not gonna make that go anymore.
No, Carrie, Jay can promise whatever he wants. If he don't have the money, they don't have the money. You can't dig money out of a hole, and they're in a big hole right now with $60 million. So, and the majority of that spending happened under the last administration's, like basically 6 to 8 months.
Yes, leading up to election buying.
Yeah, they were. Yes, all that. I was telling y'all it was coming. And y'all talking about I got goat mouth. Hey, this is common sense. Giving civil servants pay raises, giving them honorariums, doing this, the BRAC school that y'all don't need, the school of opulence, all those things cost money. So now this new government has gone in there and found that there's a $62 million deficit and they can't make money. They can't print money and materialize it out of nowhere. It has to come from somewhere. Exactly. So some services may even be cut, Carrie. You sitting there talking about he made promises. Morning, caller.
Me. Morning.
Miss Carrie, good morning. Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Listen, that last government put people in a pickle. So you got to know you can't spend what you don't have.
But for 30 years, we've been promised a permanent
I hear you.
For animals. Do you know that my cat Maisie died because I couldn't get her on the flight to Grand in time to save her life because Cayman Airways also limits the amount of animals in the cabin on their planes. So she passed away. When she got to the vet in Grand, she was so far gone, they couldn't bring her back. And that is where I have an issue. We need a permanent, we have enough pets up here to have a permanent vet. My niece, Melanie Moore, is a veterinary doctor. And she said to me, and we don't even have her, we wouldn't even keep her here. She lives in Canada. She said, Karen, you can hire veterinary doctors that can do livestock, big game, and domestics all in one. You don't need to segregate the vet doctors, and that's what the Department of Agriculture has done for decades. They've only hired domestic, not even domestic, just livestock, mostly veterinary doctors. You can hire a doctor with all of that they can deal with livestock and domestics as well. I told this to Jay. Me and him talked about it when he came up here one time. Yeah. And I'm saying you have no idea how many animals die up here every week when there's no
Well, someone said, let me just pause you there, Carrie. Someone said that you need to ask Juliana O'Connor Conley what happened to it. So apparently she has the answer. What happened to the vet project? Remember now, she was running the show. You can go talk to Minister J all you want, but Julie runs a dictatorship when she's ready. So I'm just saying.
But he couldn't.
Well, you go talk. Well, like I said, a promise is a comfort to fool.
Told me the right plans had been approved for it.
Yeah, plans can be approved, but if there's no money to build it,
the NCFC, you need to also look at the animals as well in this country. They're God's gift to us here. They're also a creation from our God. And if we're going to talk about being Christian and all this, then we take care of the animals and not kill them or allow them to die. Well, in my $14.5 million lawsuit, my death of my Maisie is in there. I claim in a good long chunk for her. That was not right. She didn't have to die. She was a healthy cat. She got some kind of asthmatic
You say you're suing somebody?
Also in the government.
Oh, geez, I'm peace.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah, 14.5 million is up to now. They
Oh,
can keep letting it grow because if Carrie get on the flight and go across the pond, they're gonna be 60 million. Because I got 3 solicitors over there, one at KC, that tell me I can get a lot more from all of what they've done to me over the years. And I taken my lawsuit back to when I got damaged in primary school up in Spot Bay. That I lived with that damage all my life now, and nothing was done for me from the government. They want me to talk. I'll go back to the devil barn and find something to sue them for that. No, I understand we have emergencies.
Lord Jesus,
with,
Carrie, you sound like the crazy Americans now who want to sue for everything.
Yeah, I getting so happy.
Oh,
I don't give a
my
shit.
goodness.
My government has been very bad to me. So they're gonna see my face often in front a court, and I'm gonna get a big check out of them. They
What
should
you
write that
say?
one today and send it on the plane so they don't end up paying a lot
Yes,
more in the future. Anyway,
you know they can do bank
thank you.
deposits
Have a
now.
good
They
day,
don't.
everybody.
Thank you, my dear. They don't have to send cash bags and pleens anymore, folks. They can do direct deposit to your accounts. Miss Julie Hunter, West Bay West. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
So welcome. I'm happy to be on today. Have been on, and I love being able to just do a catch up with you. Always great to talk to you, Sandy, and let our people know what's happening, and I'll continue to work. That's all I can say. Continue to work, and I just feel that this is our time to do something for our island, and we'll continue
Yes.
what we started.
Thank you so much, Miss Julie. And we'll be seeing more of Miss Julie. Don't worry. We're going to start now as part of our CMR initiative, ramping up our coverage of the different members and what it is that they have been doing. So we really appreciate Miss Julie coming on here today, and have a wonderful weekend.
And thank you too for your support and all that you do to help to get us out there. Thank you so much, Sandy. Really appreciate that this morning.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, folks. Julie Hunter, the MP for West Bay West. Don't forget, she did what many thought was impossible. The Goliath, David versus Goliath. And she removed a sitting member for 40 years. He was sitting there in his rear end, hardly doing anything for the past 20 for sure. And she went in there, and thank God the people of the Cayman Islands decided to give her an opportunity and a chance. And already, I dare say, in her 100 years, she's done more than he did at least in the last 10 years. So there you go. Doot, doot. Doot, doot. I need some new buttons on my board. I soon get some. Blondie says there's 3 powerful Cayman ladies. Marva says goodbye, Carrie, and your strays. Oh Lord, like yourself, your solicitors are as mad as you. They're giving you the same promises as your PPM government. Lord have mercy. Oh, it's too early on a Friday. Faffle. It's Faffle Friday. Not 9:30 yet, but we're going to go into a little bit of overtime. Now, I need somebody to watch the time for me because I do have an 11 o'clock meeting. What is this? I got a little fuzzy on my neck. My apologies. We have an 11 o'clock meeting. I have an 11 o'clock meeting that I must attend for one of my clients. This is me giving back to the community. You guys don't know that we do a lot of things at no cost to organizations and NPOs, all sorts of stuff. So this is one of those that we're going to be helping out with a little sponsorship so that we can make sure that their events get adequate coverage. Cayman Kai says, Sandy, go and look at the Seniors Rest Center in Cayman Brac, which is more of a priority than animals. Oh, Lord. Oh, the Cayman Brac is a mess, and a lot of Cayman is a mess, but I unfortunately know that these issues were not created in a day, and so, they're not going to be fixed in a day either. But we'll get there. We'll get there. All right. Miss Lucia says you're going for pastor. Let's get into it. No more delays. No more delays. Yes. Miss Celine says keep up the good work. MP Julie and other West Bay representatives. Thank you so much. But yes, let us go ahead and, get Pastor like I said, after today, I don't know if I can call this man a pastor anymore. But Mr. Clark called in on Tuesday's program, and he had enough to say that made me start to wonder, why is this man so defensive? Oh, honey child, he's like up in his feelings. And I wasn't quite sure why he felt the need to even call in, talking about we should not mention his name. I was kind of like, yeah, what? You know, when he was talking to me, I'm sure a lot of you saw the expression in my face. My little brain was like confused. Like, why is this man calling and going on like this? What's going on today? PMS at his age, he's probably suffering from menopausal something. I don't know. But I was just like, look, you know, what the heck? Lord. Okay, let's talk about it, honey child. Oh Lord, y'all Cayman Brackers misbehaving. Carrie said, whatever, Marv, I killed Dan Scott election, so you still pissed off that you couldn't get him elected. Oh, y'all need to behave. Well, you know, I'm not getting into the back and forth with Dan Scott versus Julianne O'Connor Conley, but what I can tell you, Carrie, if something has not happened in Cayman Brack for the past 30 years, the person you need to be looking at and asking is not J.E. Banks, it is Julianne O'Connor Conley. I'm just saying. That woman, whatever she wants to get done, she's building you a school to the tune of what? Probably going to be $100 million by the time she's done, over budget, right? So she has started this school. She fast-tracked everything. A school that there is no business case for, she got started. So you wondering why you don't have a vet? Why you don't have a decent old folks home? Why you don't have this and you don't have that? Go talk to Julianne O'Connor Conley. Sit on her porch with her little swing and ask her the tough questions, because I dare say if you can point any fingers, you better start there first. I'm just saying. I don't care nothing about no election over. I'm here to tell the cool hard truth. All right, let's keep it moving. Good morning to Miss Joyce Ann. Aisle 2025 says Perlina, Dan Scott should have run against Perlina. He had too much faith. Juju wouldn't run. Well, anybody who got faith in Juju needs to have a reality check. I'm just saying, because that woman lies like a rug. RR says Carrie is a hypocritical fool. Oh Lord. Let's save her energy for Pastor Clark. Y'all beating each other up in the comments this morning. All right. So this message came in, and I must tell you that my phone has been active. Let me put it this way. Very, very active around. Oh my goodness, excuse the yawn. My phone has been very, very active around Pastor, what his name is, Pastor Clark, and his All United Church. I can't remember the name of the church. All United. Anyway, well, let's read this letter. This person wrote in yesterday morning, said, a pleasant good morning to you. Thank you. Myself, along with so many others, especially the elderly, wants to say thanks 1 million times. Last night, I listened to you addressing Mr. Clark. That's what I call him, as he is no pastor, but predator and a bully. I'm writing on the behalf of all the people who suffer under his hand, and still is, as many, many families are suffering while he thinks that no one can move him from this position. Wow. While I highlight his brother, Joel Clark, he got a brother here too? Yes, sir. The assistant pastor, oh God, already this reeks of nepotism. Ugh. The assistant pastor that always taking up for his brother, whom he gave keys to the property, and evangelist Evelyn who? Plurite? Don't know who these people is, child. Who helped to shield him as one of the head missionaries. Please highlight these people because they need to be ashamed. Been a member there when he wouldn't step down. So many members leave, including the board members who didn't know what to do. The church property was built with people's salary. Therefore, the people built the church after leaving their work in the evenings and giving their salary and thinking it would benefit the community. The lady that took the license out for church at that time, given that he didn't have Cayman papers, he threatened the poor woman, telling her she's going to die because there isn't a board in place. That she's going to die? What? So many people are very happy when Mr. Clark called you because so many people don't believe that's who he is. Well, he definitely showed his true colors, honey Jill. No two ways about that. Anyone, who tries to speak out against him is wrongdoing. He threatens against his wrongdoings. He threatens them, and this man is worse than Jim Jones. He gives the people poison to drink. Who gave the people poisons to drink centuries ago? Well, it wasn't that long, but yeah. Please stay on this story as Mr. Clark is and his brother needs to go because the church is for the community and to help the people in need. Instead, he pocket everything. I hope someday the government will put something in place, whatever they have this kind of behavior, should not allow them to hold public office. Well, it's not public office, it's a pastoral position. I wish to be anonymous. Blessings upon you always. Wow. He got a brother up in the mix too? Whoa, 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 whoa. Well, I don't know him or the brother, but what I would say is, unfortunately, there's too many people who are standing by and allowing the Pastor Clarks of the world, and definitely the Pastor Clarks of Cayman, to continue to go unchecked. The behavior is beyond egregious. And quite frankly, I am disturbed when I hear this type of information coming to the forefront. But I want to thank this person who, listen, you all have been in the church. I've never even been to the church. I don't think I've ever stepped foot on church ground, to be honest. So I just know it's down in swamp somewhere. I think it's the one that you see from the bypass. I have never been to this church. But it's a problem. It's a problem when we have wolves in sheep's clothing who are pretending to be something that they're not. And unfortunately, when it's being done in the name of God, in the name of religion, it is, in my humble opinion, even more egregious. So I am going to call upon the authorities this morning, as well as the good Lord, to expose every wrongdoing and every evil thing that is happening at that church. What a church call again? Oh Lord, remind me the name of it. But y'all know who I'm talking about. A twin brother? If they're not twins, they sure look identical. So, I suspect that what is really going on here is they have discovered that one of the biggest scams in the Cayman Islands that you don't get recognized for, you don't get called up for. No one has ever. I stand to be corrected. But show me evidence of where anyone has ever called up any of these pastors to be held to account. It just does not happen. So they live with what they believe is a life of perfect immunity for all of their bad behavior. Y'all whispering behind closed doors, and nothing is done about these individuals, and they continue to rape and pillage and act as modern day pirates. And unfortunately, they have the people, the good people, because I know a lot of you, your hearts are in the right place. You're trying to live your best Christian life, but they have you guys so confused and so twisted up. Like the person made the analogy to Jim Jones, modern day Jim Jones, where they'll have you drinking the, hopefully not real Kool-Aid that can poison you, but at least a spiritual Kool-Aid. They have you drinking their lies, right? And you will support them to the death over foolishness. These people are not above reproach. But you see, when the pastor called in the other day with his attitude, the one thing that occurred to me and I thought of almost immediately is this is someone who thinks, who believes that they are God. They're a demigod. That's what they believe. You're going to get on a radio, on a public platform, knowing at that time we had about 600 people listening to the program, and come at me in such a way that, it made me go, what? It made me pause. And then I said, no, Bobo. This wasn't, you weren't guided by no spirit. It wasn't the right spirit that was guiding you to call me in. Like I said, you needed to pray before you picked up that phone. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Good morning. Good morning.
Morning, dear.
Oh, I had a young lady that came to work with me, a helper, and she was going to that church. And one day she said to me, and this is many years ago, so this has been going on for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
She said to me that we weren't Christian if we couldn't speak in tongues.
Wow.
And I said, where did you get that from? She said, her pastor. I said, please. I said, it was only the day of Pentecost that people spoke in tongues, only twice in the Bible. And I said, when it was done, others was understanding what the other person was saying.
Mm-hmm.
I said, oh, you all just be saying things nobody. What sense is that? That doesn't make no sense. And she was young and smart to say we wasn't gonna make it. And I said, girl, you're brainwashed. You need to stop.
Wow.
So this has been a long time ago. So
yes.
and she was so young, and she was convinced that the rest of churches was nothing.
Oh my God.
And you can't do that. Yeah, you can't do that. So they're brainwashed, Some of those. I remember her right now and stuff. And her pastor, everything her pastor said, you couldn't get nothing to pass her because it was her pastor said. And that is not healthy for anybody.
Absolutely not.
That is not healthy for us as human beings, because no pastor not supposed to. We're not goats and pigs for you put us there that whatever. We have a mind of our own. We go to church and it's supposed to be read from the Bible. We're supposed to understand from that. Brother James has never ever in life said, oh, you got to do this, do that. He preached and that's how we should live. But you understand, this man, when his car kept broken down, the church said, you need a new car. He said, no, it was okay. They were fixing it. They had to force him to buy a car. Yeah, they had to basically take it over. This is not what you see anymore. Everybody's just here grabbing $1, and then they got the person brainwashed. So nobody can tell them anything else. So they're so into that. Because I was shocked. I was really shocked when she told me I wasn't going to have nobody wasn't if you don't speak in tongues.
Wow, my God, unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah, this thing called religion. That's why sometimes people don't get it. And I understand, because it's a lot now. It's not like before that you really go to church to heal your soul, get a good sermon, get some preaching to help you through the week. Now it's all about cars and houses and places. Pastor wants. How is that of God? Poor people is already suffering, right? Poor people can barely make it to put in their tithes and offerings. And you're there making them feel like they gotta give you this. Who are you? You're not God. Tell us to give him that.
Right.
So we got him around here. That's not the honest one. I met a young lady. Yeah, we got him around. I met this young lady, very known in society. I met her in Miami one day on 20th Street. She said she was looking to buy a van. She heard that I buy cars. She was opening a church. So I said, how are you opening a church? Yeah, she's opening a church. I said, just like that? Yeah. She's well known around here. And I said, but that's not how it is. You need to be ordained. You need to be called. You understand me? And she does. They run a church right now. And I mean, so we got it here. We got it around here. You know what I mean? So the government needs to stop giving all of this free thing for these churches and all of this, and stop some of these churches and from coming in. It's too much churches. Every little house, every little corner, every little place you find is a church. How many of us have a good weekend.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Somebody sent me a message. I can't remember which platform. It might have been Instagram or Facebook. I don't know, one of them. And they're like, oh, you know, why don't you like church? What do you have against churches? And I was like, Lord Jesus, the simplicity of mind. This is something that we all need to pray for better discernment. Listen to me and listen to me very, very carefully. I, like most of you, grew up in a Christian environment. Now, I don't know whether that's going to get me into the pearly gates or not, or how this is really going to work, because y'all can answer lots of my questions that I have. But we grew up as Christians, and at the end of the day, this is what we believe simply because we were exposed to it. Let's just be honest here. Muslim people believe what they believe because they were exposed to it. Different people believe what they believe. And I'm not one for bashing anybody else and their belief system, especially when it comes to religion, just because I believe one thing versus them. We have freedom of religion in this country. And yesterday I was having a little bit of a conversation with someone about this, and I'm surprised at how closed-minded Caymanians are when it comes to freedom of religion. But this, I want to be very, very clear, has nothing to do, in my humble opinion, about the church. And I'm surprised that there are those of you who believe that I have an issue with the church. That means that you're simply not listening. You don't have a discerning spirit. My issue isn't with the church. It isn't with religion. It isn't with Christianity. It's with individuals who are, if you looked at this situation objectively, my apologies. If you looked at it objectively, you would see that these are wolves in sheep's clothing. They are heathens, for lack of a better word. That's what the Bible would call them. If Aunt Lottie was here, she'd be telling you about these heathens up in the church. And the church has always had them from day one. If you read the good book and that's what you subscribe to, you understand that the devil himself was once an angel. Yes. So if an angel can fall because of ego, what do you think happens to mere man? So nobody can't tell me that you guys have been treating Pastor Clark or Mr. Clark or whatever we can call him after today. You've been rolling out, and you do this for these people when you shouldn't be. Literally rolling out the red carpet for them. You treat them like they are a god. Go read your Bible, because your Bible says, put nobody else before me. That's what the good Lord said. Y'all are putting pastors before the Lord, and you need to stop it. Opening doors for him. Oh, he has to be in first class while the rest of you sit in the back like you're slaves. You open up the door for him, and only him can drive in the car and came and brought. Let me tell y'all a story I heard recently, right? Now, you know his connections with McKeever Bush. Him and McKeever Bush tight like Bench and Batty, okay? And you know why? It comes down to money, right? It's not that McKeever's a good Christian man. God knows that can't be true. Now, I don't know what else, speaking of Bench and Batty, I don't know what else they might be into and sharing that they may have common ground. All these other bad behaviors that McKeever be into. You heard what he said. Oh, well, the church is for sinners. The church is for sinners, Pastor, but you're supposed to be removing yourself to some extent from these sinners. You don't be traveling with them. Where you going hanging out different places with McKeever for? Huh? You don't think people see you and your behavior? When you get up and you defend McKeever's behavior, this isn't about, church is for sinners. This is about somehow you want to defend him and call out other people who are saying the behavior that McKeever Bush engages in, despite the fact that he claims that he's a Christian, is definitely not Christian-like, and it's not very becoming of him. Stop encouraging these bad Christians, because they're not Christians, and in fact, they run people away from the church. Hear what this person says. Good morning, Lady Sandra. Definitely listening this morning. The number of persons that are on edge, they can't believe a time of reckoning is here for him. He prays that people die when they stand against him. My God, what kind of supposed Christian are you? You have hate in your heart, Pastor Clark. You really, really do. What kind of person prays that people die because they are calling you out, or they're trying to stand up to you and your bad behavior? You think that that's right? Does that sound like Christianity? If it does, y'all read the wrong Bible. I don't know what version of the Bible you have, but you are clearly reading the wrong Bible. And a man who goes around with this behavior, like I said, I was so taken aback on Tuesday when he called. And so were a lot of you. You were shocked. My phone was blowing up. Y'all were like, oh my God. After today, I've lost respect for this man. He exposed himself. That's why I wish he had taken a moment and pray before deciding to call into the program, because no right spirit was leading him on Tuesday. That was a spirit of malice. That was a spirit of unforgiving. That was a spirit of, oh, something happened to me over 4 years ago, which I felt slighted by. So I'm going to now call in and remind you of who I am. Pastor, I don't know you. And you didn't need to remind the people of the Cayman Islands anything about yourself, about how you're going to take down. Listen to how bold and brazen this man is. He's going to take down a station. That's why I had to remind him. I said, sir, you can attempt to do whatever you want, but I know the good Lord not going to be on your side, because there have been many Goliaths. David, hold on now. Let me make sure I get it right. There are many Goliaths that have been bigger than you, with deeper pockets than you, definitely more common sense than you, better lawyers than you will ever have access to. And they not take down nobody yet. Right? Because we stand for right around here. And we preach and we fight for right every single day, regardless of whether we are professing Christians or not. You can be a good person, and still stand for the right things without getting up in a pulpit and yelling and screaming down the place and jumping all over the place. That doesn't make you a good person. That doesn't make you a Christian. And so the more that people talk about this pastor, the more I recognize that, wow, United Pentecostal Church down in Swamp, y'all need to have some kind of revival where you remove the leadership in your church, because the head of your church has problems. The head of your church stinks. And if y'all go to church this Sunday and do not call upon God to do something with Pastor Clark and his brother and those head deacons, and what his name is, Mr. Campbell, or whatever your name is, I'm going to be discussing you next week, Thompson. All of y'all are into too much shady stuff, and you're doing the wrong things. And yet you are big time leaders up in the church. Enough is enough. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Sandy.
Morning, dear.
You're doing it again just before you cut off. Listen, thanks for exposing all of these.
Well, you know we're going into overtime this morning. Make sure.
Yeah. Listen, Sandy, we have so many of these pastors that are pedophiles. Mm-hmm. They are having, a lot of them are married, mm-hmm. and they are having sexual intercourse with members of the congregation, mm-hmm. members of the church board, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Listen, I remember, I'm going to call names, I don't care. There was a pastor here many years ago named Harold Blair. The church was right on Macfield Lane. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And then it moved further down after they built the church. This man was married, but yet he had his wife and 2 other members of the congregation pregnant at the same time.
Wow.
There was another situation here where we had another girl going to the Adventist church. She got pregnant by the pastor.
Lord Jesus.
And then she told the pastor that she was pregnant. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. He advised her to have an abortion. Mm-hmm. She refused to have the abortion. Mm-hmm. And then a couple of days later, her body was found floating out nearby Lobster Pot.
Oh my God.
Right? Her name was Lucinda Spence. I can tell you, because when the case came up, I was foreman of the jury.
Wow.
The insurance company did not want to pay the family, although she had a life insurance policy, because they had deemed it that it was death by suicide. But they could not establish that she was not killed and put there, or she actually jumped overboard and drowned herself, because it was not determined that she could not swim. So we, as the jury, unanimously ruled It was death by misadventure, and the insurance company had to pay. Sandy, there is so much of this going on in Cayman that it defies the mind. But listen, let me tell you, let me end by saying this. Church in Cayman, especially Jamaican churches, are used as a business. This is done from in Jamaica. They come here and they do the same thing. You get people, Jamaican people, they start churches in their house. And then within a few months, they accumulate enough money and they buy a piece of land, and then they talk about starting a church. I've seen it happen over and over and over again. And we are allowing this to continue to happen in Cayman. So as long as something is being done incorrectly and it's not corrected, it will continue. Anyhow, Sandy, you have a fantastic weekend. I love you always.
Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. Yes, we're officially off air now. So we're going to go into our Faffle Friday segment. Thank you to that caller. Ultimately, folks, I cannot sit back and condone the bad behavior and the things that I am hearing about Pastor Clark. This is a man who, bold is not even the right word for him. He has an audacity that I find shocking, especially knowing, and I'm sure I only know 5% now of what this man has been up to. He knows what he's been up to. And for him to still have had the audacity to try to come after people, it really makes me know what kind of person he is. He really thinks that he's above all of you. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Sandra.
Morning,
Good morning,
morning.
Cayman. The madness in churches, Sandra, is not only happening here in Cayman. For years, there has been rumors about a certain person who used to be high in government and now runs the church in the Bride. I ain't going to call no names, but Bride know who that is. And the rumors about this being done to this person and that person. So all of this foolishness, you see, the churches want to bash everybody, and they tell the gay people that they're going to go to hell and it's an abomination. But question here, who created us all if not God? So why are you judging the gays and the this and the that? When what is going on in these churches is what is keeping persons like myself from walking into a church, because you have people right here in West Bay that will wave at you, that know me for years, but yet has invited me once to come to their church. And all they're doing is splitting churches in Cayman, going build new ones, and it's all a money business. But what goes on behind closed doors must always come to light. And there's too many, I'm going to say it, too many men in churches in Cayman that are married, protesting Christianity, sending the sinners, including us gays, to hell 6 days a week, and sitting in church with their wives, pretending that they are all God Almighty. But like I say, if people's lips could talk, the amount of people I have seen in gay clubs in Miami would shock you. I leave you there. They're a bunch of hypocrites.
Yes, and including Makiva Bush, Austin
Thank
Harris,
you, including Makiva Bush, Austin Harris, because I got, look here, if my mouth talked, there would be a lot of marriages broken, but I leave it to God.
Yes.
But yet, gay people are the worst people in Cayman. But I have to ask the question, you hear any gay person sexually abusing any child in Cayman? I don't remember one. There's this case about this man that tormented his ex-lover and his girlfriend. But have we heard of any child being raped by a gay person, woman or man in Cayman? It is the straight people doing it. And Cayman needs to wake up and smell the roses. The churches are a bunch of hypocritical heathens, most of them. And I don't care. I'm going to speak the truth. They need to stop preaching damnation to us sinners out here and preach it to themselves. Because what goes on behind closed doors needs to come to light. We not only have people up in churches eating furry burgers, I'm going to give you a new word, this morning. I send it to you in the messages.
Oh, Jesus.
We got furry burgers. We also got furry sausages being tasted up in churches when church doors are closed. I'll leave you there. You figure that one out. It's very easy, Sandra.
Lord
Government
Jesus.
needs to stop giving away the people's money. Julie, in her last cohort of crooks, gave the church on Town Hall Road. Isn't it almost a sense that they're going to use the hall for a hurricane shelter? Stop using and wasting the people's money, Cayman Islands government. We want it to stop. Do an investigation on every church that has gotten money from the government over the years and cut this foolishness out. We have too many things to address in our country that needs addressing. And one of the biggest ones this government needs to come back with in September, and I hope they're going to come with it, is a registry for sex offenders and to make laws that people that rape women and children need to go to jail for life. And anyone that is a permit holder, a foreigner that does it, this man here that raped this young woman, this teacher, and they've given him 13 years, and his pathetic old wife that is up there grinning. She looks like a man herself. But let me tell you, there are some things going on in churches around here. That is why I don't go to church. But yet, I am scorned because I am gay in this country. It is the churches that are running the people away. That's all I have to say. Enough is enough. And government needs to cut this money given away, because every $1 million you give away is $1 million that could have went to do something for our children that need it in this country. Stop wasting the people's money. Thank you, Sandra.
Thank you, my dear. Thank you. Appreciate it. Wow. Hot mess. Ay. Lord have mercy. Oh, wow. Lord have mercy. All right. I'm still trying to get over the fact that this man prays about people and prays for people to die when they try to set him straight. What an evil thing to do. My gosh. All right. This person says, Sandy, good morning. Please don't forget about some of these demon preachers who influence or brainwash the likes of Alden McLaughlin and Kurt Tibbetts to the Adventist Church, also McKeeva, and put them on a pedestal. I would guess many more are doing the same thing, as it's all a part of their scamming plan. Let's also remember the homogenous church being built in Bodden Town is mind-boggling. Good morning, caller.
Good morning again, Sandra. Sorry, I hope I don't upset Miss Salma by calling back. Morning, Marva. Tune in 1:30. I'll be talking about you today. Anyways,
oh, Jesus.
Sandra, let me say this. I had a nail tech years ago. Her name was Eileen. I don't know what happened to her. I believe they killed her. She was on the
Who killed her?
This big pastor that church down the swamp back then when he was there. I don't know which one it was, but she was one of the pregnant ones, one of the choir women. It was 3 women on the choir pregnant for him at the same time, and he was.
Oh my God.
Okay, they were going to be having babies at different intervals.
Oh, Jesus.
And he was pressuring her to have an abortion. She didn't want to have one. She said, no, I'm not having an abortion. You and I had sex. We made a child, and I'm having this child. And he used to come to that salon and harass her all the time about taking her to Miami to have an abortion. I mean, I don't know if he had her killed when she went back to Jamaica to have a baby, because I never ever heard about Eileen again. If anybody out there remember Eileen that used to work at Eclipse, please let me know how she's doing, because she was such an awesome human being. Anyhow, I also want to say this. The Adventist Church, and beware of them people. Beware of them. I went to the Adventist Church as a young girl up here. And I was sexually molested, as well as a lot of other young girls. After we got older, we realized that was molestation. And yeah, trust me. And not only that, in the BRAC, if you ask 10 women, were you around my age group? Were you ever molested in the church? All 10 of them will say yes. And if there's 100 on the outside listening, heard you answer, they're gonna say yes too. Because the sexual assaults on young children in the churches of this country has been buried for decades. And children have gone on with all this trauma and not gotten healed for it. And we need to start making these churches pay their rightful due. And we want full valuations on all their pastors because they believe they're God. And that's the other issue in this country. Some of these pastors and ministers believe they're God. I mean, someone sent me a video of Mr. Courtney Church up here on the bluff. I think that's a Pentecostal, but here he's the pastor of it, of how he was going on in the church. And I'm like, is he even human? Was he possessed by something? Because what he was doing up in the church, the way he was carrying on was like, when you let go a monkey in the out of captivity and they go from tree to tree to tree to tree. That's how he was doing it on the church benches. And I'm thinking to myself, is that proper? Is that real? Is that godly? I don't know. I mean, maybe it's godly for their version of God. I don't know. But these are the things. And some of these churches get all kind of stipends from the government, like that big old one up the cross from Rankin's farm.
Not just
$2.5 million.
Yeah, not just stipends. They get a free money. I mean, no obligation, no nothing attached. And
But
so
yet
it
they don't
really
take away help
puts
for-
into question, why are governments, this is why I was saying there has to be, yes, I get that we're a Christian society, but there has to be separation of church and state, and there has to be accountability for all NPOs, including churches.
Amen. They must produce the same way the government make charities produce audited accounts.
Yes.
Churches need to produce audited accounts.
Absolutely.
How about that?
Absolutely.
That stop all the
And I'm glad Minister Ralston Anglin yesterday made comments in favor of that, because he said, listen, no right proper Christian would see any reason or any issue with that. Because you're not supposed to steal from people. There's supposed to be accountability at all levels. So anyone who is truly a Christian would have no problem with being held accountable. Because what you got to worry about? What you got to worry about if you're doing the right thing?
Exactly. And the reason government give them all kind of free money is because they say they're helping people in the community.
Yeah.
What they need to do is get sworn affidavits from everybody. They're helping in the community. Saying, yeah, they give $50 a month. Or 25 cents a month. Yeah, I get that from this church. And that way, that's accountability. You'll see how quickly a lot of them shut down because then you're going to be wanting to be under that kind of a microscope. But we have to put them under it. We need to make them take.
Yeah. And the shocking thing is, Carrie, is it is so amazing how the churches have gotten a pass for all of these years. Like I said, I can't think of anybody else who's been calling them out. And I guess that's why they're trying to push this narrative that, Sandra doesn't like the churches. That don't have nothing to do with that.
That's bull.
Yeah.
They need to be held accountable, and they're not. I'm sorry. The Bible says, give to Caesar what is Caesar's.
That's
that
right.
means you identify. And a lot of times you'll see all of these coming here in their cheap clothing. Our Bible also teaches us, many shall come in my name, but are not of me. Okay? And who is this Pastor Clark? Is he up here in the BRAC?
No, he's at the Pentecostal United Church down in Swamp, the big church down in Swamp.
Oh, the same one.
Yes.
Oh Lord, yeah, that has been the most controversial church in our midst for a very, very long time.
Thank you, my love.
They need a major overhaul.
All right, thank you so much. You too.
Bye.
So Charles Clark says, did you record the call with him? Would love to hear how he carried on. Look at God working in mysterious ways. Charles, he actually called the show. The man called the show. Simply go back to Tuesday's show and have a listen, and you will hear him on air saying how he is going to, if basically he was threatening me, saying that if I called his name or his church's name, not God's church, his church's name, that I guess he wasn't bold enough to say he was going to kill me off with prayers. He was going to make me die with his prayers. But he said he was going to shut the radio down today. People were shocked. There were people who called in, Mr. Charles, saying, whoa, 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 whoa. Does he know how a pastor is supposed to act and how a pastor is supposed to go on? Because this wasn't it. This was not representing. Wow. Well, Pastor Clark leaves a lot to be desired, because I tell you what, people are, as you say, look at God. Look at God working in mysterious ways. Yeah? It's all being exposed because he challenged. He said he can challenge me. Well, he was really challenging God, and God said, really, son? You getting away? That's right. It's Find Out and Fuck Around Fridays. The good Lord was sitting there on his throne saying, oh, Pastor Clark, wannabe Bishop Clark, you gonna really test the truth, knowing the kind of person you are and the fornication, everything that you out here doing? You got dare get on radio. We got over 730 people still listening this morning. But he actually had the audacity, Charles, to get on the airwaves and to challenge me. He was treating me like a little child, trying to spank me over his knee. But he not putting no kind of hands on me, honey child, not me. I don't know what other sisters he be trying to put his hands on, but it's not gonna be me. I don't suffer fools easily, none at all. So he came and I delivered for him. Challenge was accepted. So you feel free to go back and have a listen to Friday's show. There was some issue with the music with Facebook, but they soon release it and you'll be able to find it on Facebook. But it's still up on YouTube, and I still waiting for him to shut stuff down all now. Tartarian says, yes, I remember that case. They said it was suicide. Now, one of her family members has come forward and said that, that's not correct, that her sister was not pregnant for him. And so she's really upset that this person, her cousin's name, I didn't even hear the name, to be honest. Cindy Spence. Was this the young lady who actually walked into the ocean and they said had committed suicide by going in the ocean? Wasn't that Public Beach? I kind of remember this now, I always wondered, how can somebody commit suicide by walking in the ocean? But I guess anything's possible. But this person says that she was not pregnant for the pastor. Well, I can't tell you if she was pregnant or not pregnant or who she's pregnant for. But the man who just called in, he said, please give that family member, anybody else, my number, because I was the foreman for the inquest. So we got the medical information. So I know it must be hurtful. She says, I'm in tears right now. She drowned. I'm so hurtful. I can only imagine. But I remember this. I think I know her brother, one of her brothers. Yeah. One of the Spences. Is his name Donald or one of them? Some Spence. But I believe at the time I actually knew the brother a little bit. So I know this is hurtful. I'm so sorry that you had to hear this. But the point that they're making, he's saying that, listen, he was the foreman on the jury, and he is well aware of, what the information is. Because, the jury gets to have all the details. And he said she was pregnant at the time of her death. And I guess the rumor, I don't know if they did any DNA testing on the fetus or anything like that. I don't think so. And they said, you can go and check the records. You can go pull up the file if you want. But they were the foreman of the jury, and they're telling you she was pregnant at the time. It was rumored that she was pregnant for, I guess, one of the Seventh-day Adventist pastors, which is interesting because now that I'm thinking about the brother, they were all Seventh-day Adventists. Yes. What a hot mess. Listen, I don't care what denomination you're from. We're Church of God, non-denominational, whatever. I don't care if you're Church of God. I don't care if you're Baptist, if you're evangelical, if you jump up and square back and broke your back church. I don't care, because there's some weird churches around here, Foursquare and this and that. I hear some coming out of Jamaica that I've never even heard of before. I'm like, a Foursquare and two hop step in church. What kind of denomination that is? all nations, Pentecostal, this, that. I don't really care. You cannot let people abuse you. You can't let people brainwash you. And these pastors must do better, regardless of what denomination they're affiliated with. Good morning, caller.
Hey, good morning, Sandra. How are you doing?
My dear, I'm right here. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm at home, and the previous caller, mentioned my sister, my dear sister, who passed away several years ago.
Yes, I'd almost
It
yes,
bothered me.
of course, of course.
And I wanted to mention this to the public
Mhm.
that no one knows, not even the courthouse knows what happened to her. Okay,
Right.
and I leave that for God to judge, not any man that is living
Yes.
on the earth.
And that's why he said that ultimately she died, that their findings were she died by misadventure because they couldn't say,
Yeah, they don't know. Only God knows because no one was there. Only God. Okay. So I want to mention to that previous caller, please leave my sister. Let her rest in peace. So I don't want her name called on any talk show in the Cayman Islands or anyway. Okay, because it disturbed me. It disturbed all my family. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm very mad about it. Okay.
I can imagine. Yeah.
Anyway, Sandra, you know me well. So
Yes. I was. You're the brother I was thinking of. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, my dear. Thank you.
All right, then. Bye.
All right. Thank you so much. What I would say, let me just do sort of a general comment and warning, right? You don't always have to call names when you are trying to make a point. And so I know that the caller wasn't trying to be hurtful to the family, but I didn't even hear the name. I'll be honest. I was listening, but I didn't actually hear when he called her name. And it was coming back to me that this was quite a number of years ago and I was remembering the situation. So let me suggest this. If the person isn't a public figure, they're not politicians, they're not pastors and so forth. They're in a different league, right? She was a private person, you could have still made your point and talked about generally, because whatever you think or whatever, I can assure you that if there's any truth to the rumor, the allegation that she was pregnant by a pastor in the church, she wouldn't be the only one. Hello, we talking about the rumors swirling around Pastor Clark and how many marriages he's broken up and how many people he's potentially gotten pregnant to the point where he had to take a DNA to prove to his church that one child wasn't for him. So I don't think it is. What does one come and say? Sandra, shut up. He is a good man. He helps families. Who? Pastor Clark? He's helping himself to families' wives. That's what I know. So you can come in here with your fake Facebook account that you just created and be all up in your feelings. But we are here to expose the truth. And if Pastor Clark was a man that had nothing to worry about, he would have never picked up the phone and called me on Tuesday and say the things that he had to say. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Anna. How are you doing today?
Not bad, dear. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Good to hear you. Good to hear you. Welcome back from your vacation.
Yes, thank you so much.
Is that a policy, or is that law that you can't check the churches? You can't audit them.
Well, there's no requirement, so nobody can compel them to be audited. Yes.
Well, if suppose you suspect them, you can't do that on suspicion.
No.
You can't do anything like that on the law. I mean, the law itself can't do that on suspicion. They just say, well, we suspect on a what you call it, we can do an audits.
Nope.
I know, no,
they're an NPO, so there's no such requirement. And listen to this, right? I'm saying this is another comment that came in. Someone said that he was asked to step down and he has said no. So other members of his congregation, at some point has asked him to step down and he's refused to do so.
Yeah, well, that is what's going on. The churches are the biggest money launderers on this island. you think that it's still not going on. You said that only happened
we know it. We know it going on.
But that is going on, and right through the churches. So you got to know it not only the pastor fees thing, like planning big shot people behind them churches and things, that they hide behind the curtains. So all that is going on. So you gotta be careful with these people. They'll send hitman for you. They'll try walk OB and all that. And then I know you don't believe in supernatural stuff like that, but all that they'll try. All that they'll try. And when OB don't work, they send hitman to try to take care one way or another. So they got all kind of people behind them, all kind of big shot people behind them. You'd be surprised.
God. What a mess.
Yeah. All right.
Wow. Thank you, my dear. Thank you, my dear. Appreciate it. What I would say again is, do be mindful of the fact that family members are listening. And, sometimes the family members themselves, if the official ruling was death by misadventure, that means that there could not be a definitive determination on anything else in terms of her cause of death. So, it is what it is. If they're not a public figure, we talked about this even in relation to Andrell when we were discussing his case. He's a public figure. He was in that space. So he doesn't get the same sort of privacy, if you will, that other people will, because, he was a representative of the media. If something happened to me, I expect that you guys would be, talking about it just like anything else. And that's to be expected. But I just want to say, be mindful of the fact that there are family members who, will grieve forever for the loss of their loved ones. And so you can make a point and you can talk about cases like the caller after him said, listen, I wouldn't even begin to tell you guys about the, y'all, the church people in the church, whatever, talking about all the focus on are gay people. When so many of them themselves are involved in that type of behavior. So let me say this, that I know for a fact. In fact, there's one person, I hope she's listening this morning, because oftentimes she's silently listening. She's constantly sending me, as a matter of fact, I'm going to just send this to her to say, make sure you're listening right now. Because this is directed at you. She's constantly sending me things about, who is this calling me from an 83 number? Who does this? Hello, good morning. Yes, I'm on air. Are you trying to call the show? Okay, hold. Do me a favor. Call the show number. 936. Okay, all right. But I'm going to put you on speakerphone then, because otherwise nobody else can hear you but me. This is my personal number that you were calling.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, Sandra.
Yes, sir.
Hi, good morning. This is Donald Spence.
Oh, this is Donald. Yes, Donald. Hi.
This is Donald. I'm actually calling you from the States where I now reside. And I'm calling you on a very serious concern that I've just been made aware of, that has to do with my sister, Lucinda Spence. I understand that a caller has just made some very false accusations about her. And I wish to have that corrected, because when my sister passed away, she was not in any state where the caller suggests. I don't even want to repeat it. I am going to find a way to reach out to the caller.
And he's happy. He has, because your cousin Carol reached out as well. And I did read part of her comments. And obviously this is very, very upsetting to the family. So let me apologize, because I think the way in which the comment was handled, it could have been done better. You don't need to call, the name didn't need to be called. You could have just said, I know of a situation, because it's a broader conversation that's being had, nothing specific about your sister. So I think that some other things, the caller was triggered to just sort of make a point. And it wasn't necessary to call your sister's name. So let me say that first of all. So I do apologize for that. And I've made it very, very clear just now that people can call in and make a point, and they don't have to call people's names, especially if they're not considered persons in the public. Right. So if I call McKeeva Bush's name, or politicians or pastors, whatever, they're public people. There's a different standard that applies to them. Your sister was a private individual, and what happened to her, I think, was very, very tragic. So I don't think that it was necessary. However, having said that, the caller has said he's happy to take your calls because he knows what he's talking about. So I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I understand that my cousin has received his number.
Yes.
And we will talk with him.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to have it clear to the public.
Yeah.
That my sister, who was a very decent, honest person,
yes,
was not, as he mentioned. We have no records from the hospital, or no records from any of the, whatever he did in terms of the medical. There's nothing to confirm that to be true.
Mm-hmm. Right. Okay. Thank you, my dear.
So thank you for your time. And
yes,
I will
absolutely.
reach out to the gentleman.
Yes. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Okay, dear.
Goodbye.
All right, dear. Yes, I mean, wow. Again, sometimes you can make a point. I was making a point by the other caller who said, listen, there's a lot of y'all who are out here swearing for people, swearing for married men, etc. And he knows for a fact that you put your neck on that chopping block for them, you get it chopped off. So there is a young lady, very involved in the church, always messaging me about gay people, et cetera, et cetera. And I chuckle when she talks to me about her disdain for them, because I say it's so interesting because you have much more important issues like the gangbangers and the child molestation and stuff like that you should be concerned and worried about in Cayman. These gay people are not going, they're trying to convert our children, they're doing this. And what I want to say to her today is one of her own nephews who she raised and was exposed to her hatred of these people and was exposed to her constant rhetoric about gay people. He's out there living his best life on the down low with gay men. So my point that I'm trying to make is don't speak on categories of people and hating on categories of people when you really don't even know what the reality is in the Cayman Islands, right? You guys are raising children. You're raising your own children. When you don't have children, you're raising your nephews and nieces and all these people. And they are members of the LGBTQ plus community, either proud members who are willing to say, here I am, leave me alone, I'm just living my life, or they're living on the down low. And they're dabbling in dabbling in every little thing. What was the word? He said he was going to teach me a new word. What was the new word that he was teaching me? I didn't really hear it. There was one about furry burgers, and he said there's something else. Let me see now if I can find that, because y'all know these things are new to me, honey child. Y'all be giving me some sauce. I'd be like, what? What do you say? Furry sausage? Anyway, y'all into things, y'all into the most. So, all I can tell you, that's one area that when you talk to people in the community, they'd say, listen, we furry sausage. Thank you, C.E. Banks. We got enough pastors, married brothers, straight brothers, whatever they want to call themselves. They could mash up enough marriages here today if they started to name names. So go live your best life in the corner, pretending like you actually know what's going on around here. Because when it comes to that topic, I'm not swearing for nobody and no topics, but definitely not that one. Anyway, come on through, sister. Bringing me my little breakfast this morning. So this one says, Mr. Clark knows for a fact that whenever the ladies come into his office, he starts pushing his tongue in their mouth. Lord Jesus. And feels them up, but they're afraid to speak. Miss Evelyn and Joelle, among others, helped to shield him. For years, the tithes and offerings was thrown in his car trunk, and he went home with it while he banked the offerings. You see, this is the kind of accountability now that I'm saying that isn't happening. So nobody should be walking away with a bag of cash and money in the trunk. That just is not proper bookkeeping protocol. Okay? So, what a mess. And every single person who knows his bad behavior and they're enabling him, I don't know who the hell Evelyn is, and I don't know who Joel is. What was his brother's name again? But whoever these people are that are condoning his bad behavior, shame on you. Not just condoning it, but are active participants. The person goes on to say, just as how he tried to bully you, that's exactly the same behavior he displays for the people to be afraid of him. Don't sorry for the wife because she loves the lavish lifestyle and she never worked in the Cayman Islands. Clark needs to stop pastoring and go back to being a chef. He was a chef? Oh, Lord. As that was what he was doing when he first came on island. Everyone that attend the All Nation United Pentecostal Church of the Cayman Islands, that's the full name, needs to stand up and let this man go because the people have the power. He was asked to step down and he said no. Honey child, I'm surprised about these pastors telling y'all no. I mean, really? I guess no wonder he feels like he is in charge. He's large and in charge because of that kind of behavior. This person asked a question. Good morning, Sandra. Did Pastor Clark not get a church sister pregnant and then sent her back to Jamaica to have a baby? And then him and his wife go there to adopt the baby? Please keep me anonymous. So what I can tell you is that is the rumor that has been circulating for quite some time. I don't have access to the DNA test or anything else, but I was told that he had a DNA test done. And, my question is, why would you even be taking a DNA test if you're not up to no good? I mean, it is very, very strange. But, in the Caribbean, we have a saying here, where there's smoke, finish the rest of it, Class C. Where there's smoke. My apologies. I'm having a little breakfast here. There is just this morning I was reading an article here, one of these stories on Instagram about this guy who big time GOP person, anti-abortion, whatever. And now they have evidence. Trump supporter, of course. They have evidence that despite him being this big time pro-lifer, he has made a number of women that he was having affairs with have abortions. I'm like, what? Yep. So hypocrites, folks, take many, 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 many forms. And yeah, it is what it is. I'm going to get his name because I can't remember his name now. Let me see here. What a mess. Jigs Gotti says, me can bother you. What? Me can bother you. Okay. Jasara. Carol, thank you so much, Miss Carol. She says, please correct the misinformation about Cousin Cindy, who lies was shared by Mr. Bernard. It's a lie. We are so hurt. So I think both of her brothers, I don't know if she had any more brothers, but they've obviously called in and clarified the situation. So like I said, I wasn't on the jury. He says he was a jury foreman. I don't know anything about that. But again, I think the best thing to do is to, not call any names. Let me see here. In regards to the caller saying that they haven't heard of any gay people raping young men, let's just say, I know for a fact a gay man raping a young boy. Listen, this is where we need to listen very, very carefully. You can't make these generalizations. If you are a child molester, you're a child molester, and you will molest children regardless of who you are. We have, like I said, somebody yesterday was like, oh, these Muslims, all they're doing is going around molesting people, whatever. And I said, whoa. I'm going to play a video for you guys today because we have to be careful. And I do mean very, very careful, making generalizations about people based on their ethnicity. Listen, there was a time when all Black men were rapists too. And the Bible was used and justified to talk about, them and to castigate them into particular corners. So I don't want us to go down what is a very, very dangerous road of saying, oh, all Christians are like this, all Muslims are like this, all gay people are like this, all straight people. No, there is good and bad into everything. There was a gay couple who adopted a child in the United States of America, and they were abusing that child. So of course, gay people are capable of raping anybody. My apologies, just like anybody else. It doesn't have anything to do with them being gay or straight. If someone is a molester and they're an abuser, I can assure you that they will abuse and molest regardless. Yeah? So, I think the caller, and I understand the point that perhaps the caller was trying to make, which is that there are a lot of people who will say, well, because they're trying to put people in categories, or all gay people do this. And the evidence actually shows that they're less likely to be involved in that kind of behavior because they know the reputational damage that comes with it. But that does not mean that you don't have gay people who haven't assaulted or raped people. So I don't want us to go down that rabbit hole, because I think now this is where we start to have dangerous conversations. Oh, all Caymanians are this way and, they do this. No. But like I said to the person yesterday, they're talking about Muslims. I'm like, so when a Christian has molested a child and I don't hear y'all talking about that, what is it you're trying to say to me? Right? What's the point? As that man said, what a pint, what a pint. Anyone is capable of good and bad, regardless of their religion, regardless of their ethnicity, and all of these other things. We judge people based on their record here. So that's why I say I laugh when people tell me you don't like you don't like Christians. I'm like, what? How did you get to that conclusion? Like, seriously. I'm like, okay, y'all are being very small-minded. The guy who was accused of raping his family member, the Jamaican fella there, he's not a Muslim. So I need y'all to be upset about the act that people are engaged in. Not that they're a Christian, a Muslim, gay, straight, white, black, whatever. Don says, be careful what you're saying about God's people. Remember, the Bible says he's a jealous God. So let me ask you that question. Let me ask you a question based on that, Don. You're saying that we shouldn't sit here and call out these pastors who are doing bad? Is he really God's people? You're trying to put the fear of whatever into talking about God's people and holding people accountable? I don't even understand that statement, Don. To me, that's completely illogical. You want me to believe that because God is a jealous God, that he wants me to sit down here and not call these people out and hold them accountable just like I would anybody else? I can tell you a story here this morning, Dawn, that I know for a fact, and this is a recent story, to show you how the people in this same United Pentecostal Church and this same pastor are going on like a bunch of proper fools. Now, you know he's a ride or die with McKeeva Bush. Everybody knows that. And we can give you a million reasons why and another $7,000 reason why. That's the amount of money we know for sure that he's gotten from Makiva. The $70,000 can't even be accounted for. Maybe that was one of the bags that went in his trunk. I don't know. But recently they had an event and they invited all the new government elected members, right? The protocol office, they should not even be involved in this as far as I'm concerned. We're sending out the invites and inviting people, all the different elected members to come. So everybody was invited. When they got there, they went around and thanked everyone. I'm trying to find the video footage of this. Y'all stay tight because I can find the video footage of this, right? They went around and thanked everybody, acknowledged every government minister that was there, except for Miss Julie Hunter. Because you see, she took the seat away from Makiva Bush. They even acknowledged Makiva Bush, the Dr. Honorable Makiva Bush, which you're not supposed to say that because it's an honorary degree, so you don't use it. But nonetheless, they don't know nothing about proper protocol. They acknowledged him as premier of this country. When was the last time Makiva Bush was premier of this country? But this shows their prejudiceness that is happening in that church because he gave them $1 million and another $70,000. They refuse to acknowledge Julie Hunter. At her table, they went around and mentioned everybody's name. Okay? And never acknowledge her. Somebody had to pass the MC a note to say the woman sitting right there, why are you not acknowledging her? You're acknowledging Makiva Bush, who is not even elected anymore, and talking about he's premier. He might be your premier up in your Pentecostal church, but I can tell you one thing, he's not even an MP. But this is the foolishness and the duplicitousness that is happening in these churches. So if you want me to sit down here, Dawn, and believe for a second now that God don't want this foolishness being called out, take a seat all the way in the back of the pew, in the back set row pews, right along with Pastor Clark, because that is how they continue to get away with what they continue to get away with. Because y'all put them on a pedestal with all these ridiculous and foolish quotes from the Bible. God is a jealous God, so therefore he don't want you to call out these wolves in sheep's clothing. Well, didn't the Bible warn you about wolves in sheep's clothing? Morning, Jonathan.
Good morning, Sandra. Happy Friday to you today.
Happy Friday, darling.
I have a couple points I want to make.
Sure.
So if you'll allow me to, please. Sandra, this whole entire subject matter came about because those two women who went on like two hippopotamus in a mosh pit or something like that, right? And now this whole thing has brought about this situation here and this discussion coming forward here.
Well, I tell you, no, let's be clear now. What this discussion stems from is the fact that Pastor Clark called into the show.
That's what I mean, Sandra. That's what I mean.
But he didn't call in to discuss those women, yeah. He called in. Oh, okay.
No, from what I can tell, what I'm saying is that this has all stemmed from that incident. Well, Cayman has, and other countries, a situation where you see, all around the world really, where you have a belief system, in this case Christianity, that gets overtaken, and it's no longer a belief system, it's a cult. And it is operated cultishly.
Yes.
By the people who take that faith, the truth, the wisdom, and the power that comes from that truth and that wisdom and use it for their own purposes. And this is an unfortunate reality. And for that, I will just like to just quote Matthew 18:6, which says, "And whoever shall cause to stumble one of these of the little ones believing in me, it is better for him that a heavy millstone should be hung around his neck and he be sunk in the depth." And that any God-fearing man or woman should understand that, because when you're taking the power and the truth and the wisdom that is in Jesus Christ and the message and the parables and the story and all of that, and using it in any way, shape, and or form for your personal gain, for your political gain, for your financial gain, then you are truly messing with a fire that you have no business getting anywhere near. Now, I will leave it there, and I would beg those who think that utilizing Christianity to further their own self-interest or to cover their own wrongdoing and lack the humility to understand that within their own constitution, that they take a real close look in the mirror and gain humility real quick. Now, I will move on from there, Sandra.
Yes.
The statement regarding Islam, okay, obviously it's a hot button issue. And, you know, because we have a situation here where one belief system is able to be constantly derided and mocked and parodied Christianity. And really, if you speak out about that, against that, everybody is going to say, well, you just got to put up with it. You got to, buck up, accept it. It's just satire. It's just this, that, and that. But of course, if you speak against or speak fact about Muhammad, the Prophet Muhammad, then you're immediately susceptible to getting your head cut off, which is fact, which has happened in France, which has massive terrorist attack in France for coming up with a cartoon and so on. But what it stems from, Sandra, is the fact that, in the history, and we have to understand this was a long time ago, but facts are facts. Muhammad married a 6-year-old girl. He consummated that marriage with that girl at the age of 9. Unfortunately, that has been used by those who practice Islam in many cases to justify child marriage. Okay, so it comes from a root of reality. It comes from a historical root of reality. And you are right in saying that stereotyping everybody is not only wrong, it's just plain stupid. Nobody with any sense is going to suggest that every Muslim out there in this world does such things.
Well, people are saying that. Let me,
reality
Jonathan,
and a historical perspective.
Jonathan, let me tell you, I'm getting messages from Caymanians that saying we now have 400 Muslims in Cayman, and we have got to stop them from coming here because this is what they're all about.
Sandra.
Well, I'm telling you the reality of what's going on in this country.
I know, and I will just point this out to you. There is no place there is no religion in the world where you get killed more often for being than being a Christian. There are Muslim countries where it's illegal to be a Christian. So with that fact taken into consideration, okay, let's not get it twisted, because there is a massive amount of prejudice on both sides of this fence. With the advent of globalism, we have humanity moving around this world far more than ever before. So these conflicts, these prejudices coming about and becoming more visible should not be a surprise to anybody. Do I personally, Jonathan Adams, say that a Muslim should be disallowed from living in Cayman simply because they are Muslim? No, I do not. I do not. The fact of the matter is, Sandra, that we now do have a very insularized society. And that church and many other churches, the United Pentecostal that you speak of, is really not united. It is very insular in the makeup of the genealogy of the people within it. And I would venture to say with confidence that it is deeply involved, particularly with one of such quality of character and or the lack thereof of William McKeever Bush, directly and has been inculcated into forming those relationships for their own political experiences, as has been proven historically in what has happened in Cayman, RE, status grants, and so forth. Okay? And they are responsible for that, Sandra. And when it comes to the Christian belief system, the value is in what Jesus Christ said. And those messages are where I personally find that power. I don't find that in any given church all on their own. I'm actually quite repelled by one church telling me because I am not a part of their tribe, of their sect, that I will not go to heaven. I have to look at those people and question them if they have the testicular fortitude to answer what I ask them, right? Because this is where it gets devolved into cults. And when you spoke about, learning the verses and everything like that, we were all born with a question in mind. We were all born with a human right to self-determination. That was a gift from God Almighty if you're looking at it from my perspective. If you look at the text where in previous census, those texts were in Latin, which was not the language of the common people. And that language of the common people was a way, the lack of understanding was a way for those at the head of these churches to manipulate those within. Thus, even if it's not perfect, but even with that imperfection, we now have the King James Bible, okay, that began to allow those words to be absorbed by the masses, by the people, so that they could understand for themselves. You can still question, but you can understand for yourself those verses, and you can test them within your own constitution. And now we have a situation in this modern world where even with the lack of literacy, particularly within certain communities of people and certain nationalities of people, and it is a problem which is getting worse and worse, that ability has been diminished. What has been furthered is the ability to use the belief system itself as a way to manipulate people and force yourself as some grand poobah of a group of people. And therein, I believe, Sandra, that is the subject matter that we have at hand. It is people who take that belief system and use it to empower themselves unjustly, unrighteously, and unrightly, and injustifiably. That is at its core today, Friday, the 8th. Right? That is the real situation at hand we have here in Cayman. And I want to tell you right now before I go. Those, if your ears are open right here now, your ears are burning, right? Because the Christ power, the wisdom, the truth, the love, and the beauty of it is not for anybody to play with or mess around with.
Thank you, caller. We got another caller dying to get on. Thank you so much. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Good morning.
Hello there.
How are you?
Not bad. How you doing? Turn down your radio or whatever.
Did.
Yeah. Okay.
That's it. Thank you. Sandra. No, first of all, I don't claim to be any religious expert. Okay. However, I think I have a very good understanding of the Bible. And in the Bible, as I said to you the other day, one of the 10 commandments speaks, well, one of them is where God, and I speak of Jehovah God, and I'll get back to that in a second, where he said that thou shalt have no other gods before me, for I am a jealous God. Now, I think that's clear enough to understand. And he wasn't saying that, oh, don't talk about God's people because he's jealous. No. That's not what he meant.
Yes. He was talking about putting anything else before him in terms of worshiping.
Because let me say, if people read their Bible and they understand it and they quote the scriptures with the proper interpretation, then you'll understand what the Bible is telling you. And let us also remember, for those who may not know, they will know this morning, Satan is also a god. Okay? Don't forget that. Buddha is a god. That is why God gave that commandment, because he didn't want the people serving no other god. And he stated why. He's a jealous God. So in other words, if I'm prancing around talking about I'm a Christian, but I'm really a damn sinner, he's not talking about me, because I ain't And let me just say, we are all God's people, but it's up to the individual to accept Jehovah God as their God. And I'm using the word Jehovah because in Psalms, when he was speaking to David, and David said, well, who shall I tell them? How will they know you from the other gods? And he said, I am Jehovah God. Okay? They can look it up. It's in the King James Version as well as the New International Version. So don't get confused and using scriptures to support beliefs.
to support foolishness. Let me be clear.
I'm going to say beliefs.
Okay. You're more politically correct, yes.
Yeah,
diplomatic, but I can't be diplomatic with foolishness. So.
Well, that's up to you, Sandra, your show.
And that's true.
You know, I'm just saying, let us call a spade, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't know who this man is. I'm not picking on anybody or any religions. I'm just saying, I'm a Presbyterian, okay? And
can I say this, Miss Brenda? Even within the Christian religion, the fact that we have so many denominations says a lot about, as human beings, our capacity to divide ourselves.
It is a convenient division.
Exactly.
On indoctrination.
Yep. Because how many sects of Christianity do we need?
We only need one.
Right?
One.
Now, that's one thing you can't say about Muslims. They're not divided by Muslim this and Muslim that.
I was just going to say that I could use Morocco as an example. It's a Muslim country. But in Muslim countries, for those that don't know, the penalty of rape is death. Okay?
That's right.
I don't know if they still do this, but I know like in Saudi Arabian places in that area there, when you stole, the penalty of that was they chop the hand off. So don't get confused about Muslims. Muslims are like every other religion. You have the extremists. You have those that interpret their teachings to suit them.
That's right. And it's it is the extremists that Christians are looking at to make a point. And what I'm saying is that is wrong. Just like in the just as with Christians, we have extremists in the Christian community as well.
Exactly.
And they're wrong.
And let me just say, at the end of the day, you know who Muslims serve? Jehovah God. Okay? They just have a different interpretation of the Bible and they just do it differently. But ultimately, that is who they serve. Okay? I think they call him Allah. It's also God. Yahweh is also God. So for those Christians, please, I invite you, go read your Bible. And if it's something in your Bible you do not understand, you don't even have to go to the encyclopedia. You go Mr. Google or Miss Google right there. They'll help you interpret what words mean. And like I said, I don't claim to be an expert. I don't even claim to know how to interpret everything in the Bible. But anything that I've read in my Bible that I did not understand, I asked people that I could trust. People like oh God, her name escapes me, Dr. Yvette Bloomfield. People like her to explain to me, what does this mean? In other words, I wasn't going to go to somebody else who probably was in my same position, lacking understanding, to ask them, because they may tell me the wrong thing. And that is what we see people doing, talking about the Bible, but the majority of them don't understand the Bible. And I'm not picking on religions here. I'm going to say this too. It's just like Adventists say that Jesus is God. Okay? Not that he is the Son of God. All right? So they might want to think about that as well. And
thank you.
Those of us in the Christian religion, I speak of mine, Presbyterians, we don't do that. It's the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. And if you read your Bible, Jehovah God tells you, you have to come to him through his son, Jesus Christ.
Mm.
And for those who were wicked to his son, you offended him. Okay? So even if you're getting it right, that you're serving Jehovah God, you have to come to him through his son, Jesus Christ. So don't get it confused. Don't attack one religion over the other. And my best advice is, if you know it's wrong, run long and run far. Stay away from it.
I agree. Thank you so much.
Have a wonderful
Thanks.
weekend,
You
my
too.
beloved.
You too.
Okay.
Run far. What is it? Run long.
Run long and run
far. I love it. We need to do that. Thank you. We need to do that with a lot of different things. Run long and run far, and run fast too while you're at it. Miss Marva says, please give her kaboom. Lord Jesus, here's the thing now. Let's talk about Christianity for a quick second. Somebody said, don't forget you got a meeting. I said, thank God that meeting's on Zoom. Yes, thank you, CE Banks. It's online, so I soon dip out. Let me have a little look here. We have over 45,000. The number of Christian denominations worldwide is estimated at around 45,000. We are a divided people at every corner. How can you have one singular religion that then has 45,000, different sects to that religion, denominations, whatever y'all want to call it? That boggles any mind. It's like, what? 45,000. Talking about diversity in Christianity, that sounds more like division in Christianity to me. You got Catholicism, Eastern Orthodox, Protestantism, whatever the hell that is, the Protestants, I guess. Non-denominational groups here. We got Church of God. It's too much. In the United States alone, there are over 200 denominations. Let me ask about in the Caribbean. How many are in the Caribbean? I have heard all kind of weird names for a square church and this, that. I'm like, what? Hold on. I can tell you one that I heard is like very unusual. They only have about 20 people that go to that one here, but it's still like, what a pint? I need to put that button on my thing where I can just press and say, what a pint? Like, seriously, y'all think that you are united? Oriental Orthodox, non-Trinitarians, Restorationists. I don't even know who the hell these people are. 200 denominations in the United States of America alone. Protestant Reformation, churches in Africa, Asia, the Americas, y'all just divided left, right, and center. Wow. It's crazy. There's one called the Black, my family, my Black Thai, Baha'i faith. I don't even know what all these things are about. You got one God, and somehow y'all manage to divide into, and this is what is happening here. People who couldn't get along with Pastor Clark at his United whatever church, they left, and every one of them that leaves, they go open up another church. That is why we have one in every single corner and then some. It's too much. Jim says a lot of denominations believe that they're better than the next. That's the problem. This is where I'm talking about the division. Gabby has an interesting question. She says, but Sandra, I don't know why you typed in all quotes, girl, but Sandra, did Cayman not have a law stating that Muslims were not able to enter because we're Christian islands? When did that law exist? I don't know anything about that. I don't know anything about that law. I've never heard that law before. Poor people defending these people. But what I do know is that we have a constitution And in that Constitution, there's a clause about freedom of religion. And that clause about freedom of religion protects you as a Christian, but it protects other people as well. You don't get to, as a Christian, tell other people how to think or who to worship. Now, nobody is permitted to break the laws, even in the name of religion. That's a totally different situation. So Andrew talks about the Church of Scientology. All the cults. I'm glad you mentioned this David Koresh cult, because when y'all talk about, oh, the Muslim doing this and that, I want to remind you of the number of Christians who have married young girls, the church leaders, religious groups, Samuel Bateman. I'm not going to take no more calls because I got to wrap up here for a meeting. Sorry, Jonathan. FLDS offshoot, Arizona and Utah, right? They're talking about they're following God. Married to at least 20 women, many of whom were minors, including girls as young as 10. Demanded followers hand over their wives and daughters, orchestrated sexual acts involving minors, and gave wives as gifts to male followers. We have Warren Jeffs, Fundamentalist Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. President of the FLDS, he arranged marriages between adult men and underage girls, married several young girls himself, underage girls, was eventually convicted of sexual abuse related to these spiritual marriages. Right? Earl Pollock, Catholic Cathedral of the Holy Spirit in Atlanta, leader of a mega church, embroiled in years of sexual scandal. DNA tests revealed that he secretly fathered a child with his brother's wife, publicly known as his nephew. Right. We have Johann Morange from the Apostolic Church. He's one of their leaders. Arranged marriages between underage girls and adult males. Bride girls recruited early in the church. Numo Burketti Lawi, whoever the hell these people are, marrying 12-year-olds and public ceremonies. Pariahs in the Apocalyptic Faith Church, again, children as young as 12. Tim Day, Canada, senior pastor accused of clergy sexual abuse by a church member. Investigation corroborated at least one claim. Bruxy Cavey, Liddell Bisline Jr., 14-year-old girl. And this does not include the countless unnamed people and named people in the Catholic Church. Some of the biggest child abuse has occurred under the auspices of religion and churches. I mean, the Catholic Church has done a horrible job of protecting children. Right? The little choir boys, poor them, known for being targeted. Even the very nuns. Just the other day, they discovered this nunnery, that underneath the nunnery is a graveyard of hundreds, if not thousands, of babies. They brought babies into this world because they're being raped and molested and having sexual relations with these so-called priests who are supposed to be practicing abstinence. And then they kill the babies and bury them under churches, on the church property, on the nunnery. I am here to tell you all today, I don't care. Let's not forget about Jim Jones. That's right. Thousands of people killed themselves. They shot and killed people. Babies were forced to take poison, drink literally the poisonous Kool-Aid. So in the final analysis on this topic, and I hope that we can wrap this up next week and talk about something more positive, I don't really care what religion you're in, I don't care if you go to a Pentecostal church, a Baptist church, a Methodist church. Like I said, 5 square, 4 square, 2 dominoes turned upside down. If you are involved in wrongdoing, and especially when it involves children, when you are taking advantage of your position of power, because these ministers of religion are very, very powerful individuals. When you are abusing hardworking people, you drive around in a Mercedes and a BMW and living rent free in a $4,000 or $5,000 square foot house on the backs of poor people who don't have it. But they're feeling the pressure to keep up with the Joneses up in church and the Ebankses to dress in their best Sunday frock and their hats and this and that. If you don't have it, the Lord would not want you to be making that type of sacrifice. For what? To be judged by other men and women who don't know your struggles, who don't know your story. And guess what? When you cannot pay your bills, what are they going to do? They're going to come forward and help you? The church is not helping you. Very, very seldom. So don't put yourself, the Lord understands your circumstances. You don't put yourself out of your way. Stop fornicating with these pastors. Too many of them are up into too much no good foolishness. And every single church, every single church member, fellow deacons, co-pastors, assistant pastors, whatever position that they're giving you all these days to keep you shut and to buy your loyalty, I'm telling you, you are wrong, you are wrong, you are wrong. All of this is happening. And it has got to be called out. So castigate me if you want. Huh? Because I'm trying to call wrong. I'm calling a spade a spade. Just because it relates to the church does not make it any more wrong or right than when I call out everybody else. I'm sitting here telling you that some of these people, the relationships that they have with these elected members is completely wrong. There's a whole, as Jonathan would say, cabal, to use that term, even with the 7-day Adventist teachers being hired because the CO, chief officer, the acting chief officer for the Department or Ministry of Education was a 7-day Adventist. So that's all she wanted to hire. We cannot have this type of behavior ongoing in our country. Y'all would be up in arms if it was Muslims doing that. So to me, it doesn't matter if it's a Muslim or a 7-day Adventist. You do not, being a 7-day Adventist is not a criteria for employment in our schools. This type of favoritism is wrong. Yeah. I want to make sure that you guys understand me very, very clearly. You heard what Carrie said about what's going on in the BRAC? People, children, you're sending your children to church to become victims. And the people know, and y'all are not speaking up about it, and you're not stopping it. And that's where you become part of the problem. So don't come to me trying to quote your Bible scripture talking foolishness. You better understand right is right and wrong is wrong. And sometimes it is just as black and white as that. Some of y'all could learn to do with a little bit of common sense. Now, I don't know what scripture talks about common sense, but please, it must be in the Psalm somewhere. Please go find it. It is time that we stop allowing bad people to run this country and even run it from a political and religious perspective. So if this is the first time, y'all can get butt hurt, but if this is the first time someone is really calling the church into disrepute and saying we need to do better and we need to hold these church representatives to a higher standard, then I'm sorry for you, but it is what it is. Jonathan says nobody is above reproach, and you better believe that. They're abusing their positions, and you should not we as a community should not allow them to do so. We need to call for greater accountability. So guess what? Just like how we can call out the elected officials, churches, you have elected these men. They claim they're chosen by God, so they say, but y'all have elected them to run your churches and to operate. And you know what? We're going to start putting them on a spotlight. Thank you, Pastor Clark, for reminding us of the importance of holding all church leaders accountable. Because if nothing else, that is what we're going to do without fear or favor. Y'all start messaging me everything they up to. I don't care who they are. I don't care who their mama is. I don't care what denomination, what sect. It doesn't matter to me. Let's call them all out. Let's call them and have them all be held to account. I bet you some of this bad behavior gonna stop. Patrick Thompson, your expose coming next week. I'm so disappointed in you. But we gonna do a deep dive into your situation, honey child, because you big up in this same church. But you go a little bit further because your behavior as a civil servant is what I'm most concerned about. Enough of y'all want to play around with God. That's your business. I know whoever getting into the pearly gates, that's up to God. I'm not vouching for nobody. I'm not talking on nobody's behalf when it comes to the good Lord. That's up to you to make your case. But as long as we're here on this God-given earth, and we have a responsibility when it comes to Cayman Islands management, civil service, abuses, mismanagement of funding, right? Giving certain people special permission to use government property just because they're your brothers and sisters in religion, all that shit is going to stop. That's what I'm here to tell you. That is where I have a concern. No, I'm not here to judge your soul. But I tell you what, if you fornicating so much that your wife got run and leave Cayman, there might be something going on, even with your soul. But that'll be between you and God. You're going to have to work that out with him. What I'm going to tell you is you're not going to get a pass any longer in this country under the guise of religion just because, oh, I'm in this church, I'm in that church, I'm a senior pastor, I'm a deacon, I'm a this or that. I don't care, Pastor Clark. I don't care that you're a pastor. I don't care that you've been Cayman 40 years. Like I said to you, what is that supposed to mean? I was born here, and what does that mean? My name was string buried somewhere down Hospital Road, and so what? I'm not getting no special consideration or any special privileges. When I do wrong, I'm going to be held accountable. I get hauled up. They sent me to jail quicker than you. Well, you certainly not getting a pass. I don't care if you've been here 40 years and 5 days or 500 years, you will be held accountable. There's no passes. I love when they come with, oh, I've been here 40 years and for 39.5 out of the 40 years, it sounds to me like you've been misbehaving. So being here for 40 years don't mean jack shit to me. Huh? That don't get you no special consideration on this side of the fence. What you really should have done is you should have been making an argument about how you are behaving, how you're towing the line. Talking about you've been here 40 years. That's not nothing to pat yourself on the back with. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm watching the time. Thank you so much, honey. All right. Y'all remind me. Y'all so good. Remind me of my appointments this one. So you got 8 minutes. Like I said, I don't have to go anywhere because it's online. It's a Zoom meeting. Miss Brenda, you got that. Let me give you a kaboom, honey child. Oops. That kaboom button loud. 40 years in the wilderness, right? I'm just like, you've been here 40 years and what am I missing? You see, y'all not really, I don't know. Y'all not really, you're not coming straight, none at all. 40 years of hypocrisy, right? Listen to this one. Purcell says, you watch yourself with God because you have a Jezebel spirit that needs to be casted out. And what kind of spirit did Pastor come with on Tuesday? What are you going to call that? Y'all want to call women Jezebels? Well, what's the male version of a Jezebel? Well, help me out here, folks. What's the male version? Hold on, let me see if we can find anything. You can call me a Jezebel all you want. Like I said, you can't judge me. What's the male version of a Jezebel? I don't even know. What? Manipulative, controlling, or sexually immoral women is a Jezebel. How you come to that conclusion about me when it's your pastor, Pastor Clark, that's the fucking whore, in my humble opinion. I know you ain't coming to me. You see, there's not even a male version of it because it's men who've created that word to try to castigate women. Go talk to your whorish pastors and then come to me about being a Jezebel. A man whore, that's right. You don't know me, Bobo. You don't know nothing about me. And whatever you know about me, I will own. My closet of skeletons, open it wide. There you go. You think calling me a Jezebel is going to somehow hurt anybody's feelings? Well, you say your mouth is as filthy as a latrine. Cleanse yourself in the blood of Jesus. Less judgment. You're supposed to say least judgment is at your door. Poor you. Yeah, you'll be fine, Parcel. It's people like you who allow the devils like the Pastor Clarks of the world to stay in power and to remain right where they are, doing exactly what they doing. Yeah, make God judge me just like he gonna be judging you. And I'll tell you what, I ain't not out here forcing women to get abortions. I'm not out here fornicating, breaking up marriages whilst in the church and professing to be a Christian and professing to be a pastor. So feel free if that makes you feel better. If that makes you sleep better at night, calling me a Jezebel, knowing what your pastors are doing and some of them molesting children, all that kind of stuff. You're talking about I have a Jezebel spirit. I want to know what you consider yourself. Hiding all this kind of foolishness just because I'm calling it out. That's fine. Call me all the names in the world. You can call down the blood of Jesus all you want. Call it down on your own pastors because they are the ones with the problem. No, the blood of Jesus needs to be on you. Look at yourself in the mirror and talk about that. Apple says, who have ears will hear. Yes, sir. Yeah, people don't want accountability. This is why they come out defending foolishness and defending nonsense. 3 minutes. I got to go in 1 minute for sure. But this is what they do. And I will not be deterred. I've never seen this Purcell Anderson, or whatever you claim your name is. I have never seen you in the comment section talk about anything that matters to this community. When we're here calling out these child molesters, where are you? Huh? Where you be? Where you hiding? Nowhere to be seen. So you think your opinion somehow matters this morning? Let me tell you, your opinion matters as much as the opinion of an ant living in one of my closets. I soon spray him out with a little bit of bop. That's what he can get. Y'all will be fine. Y'all won't call down damnation people. Same thing with the same pastor. That's why I believe him. What he talking about? Oh, he prays down death on people. That's how y'all try to scare people. Y'all don't scare me. Whenever my number is up and it's time for me to go, I'm going to go. And that between me and the Lord, and we're going to figure it out. Y'all need to do better. Y'all are some wicked people. And yet, I'm going to get up every single day, Purcell, and have the strength to call out what is right and what is wrong. Oh, I see you like to quote the Bible. Poor you. Quote it, but you better be living by it. That's what you better be doing. That is your best bet. Live by the good book and stop upholding nonsense. Don't worry, honey child. We coming for Patrick next week. We coming for the whole tourism attraction board next week because the things that I'm going to be sharing about them requires a shakeup. That's all I got, folks. Look at the time. Talking about you're a what? A what of the devil? Poor you. We will rebuke you, Purcell. Take that. How about that? I'm rebuking you. Have a beautiful weekend, fellow Christians, fellow Muslims, fellow atheists, fellow denominational and non-denominational people. It don't make no difference. Accountability is what we should all live by. Thank you so much, Miss Morna. She says the churches are failing big time. We have some pastors living like the devil all week and preaching on Sunday about come for prayers. No, they want you to come to give them money. That's what that's all about. That's right, Jennifer. Says they condone bad behavior because they're the same. Amen and hallelujah. As El Rey says, one day Christians. It's 11 o'clock. I got to log on to my meeting. You guys have a beautiful weekend. Please be safe out there. Someone asked how old my daughter's going to be. I know y'all asking me to go play some numbers, which I do not condone, but she is going to be 9 on the 9th of August. I'm just saying, if you're a numbers person, do what you will with it, but I ain't encouraging it. All right. Thank you, Brother Jim. Have a good one.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Cold Hard Truth on Bobo 89.1 FM. Cayman's #1 talk show is live weekdays from 7:30 a.m. Never miss an episode again. Watch anytime on CMR's Facebook and YouTube channels for the latest show episodes. Don't forget to follow us online on our social media channels and visit CaymanMarlRoad.com for all the latest news and community happenings.